Hello, Philadelphia! I'm Bruce Buffer. It's time for the Anthony Gorgano Show!
Wow! Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday! What a Friday across the Delaware Valley. Man, everything kind of worked perfectly yesterday. It was one of the rare perfect sports days in Philadelphia. So let's begin with the draft, because the draft was, it worked out perfectly. I mean, you can't script it better. The run on the quarterbacks, the desperation that followed the quarterbacks, right? Atlanta, a team we did not think, although Baldi, and you'll find out later, because Baldi actually tweeted this in early April, that he had a premonition the Falcons would go Penix. He's joining the show in a little bit to break down the draft. So Atlanta goes Michael Penix, and then, there's this sweat, right? Minnesota, you knew was going after a quarterback because they had none, right? So Minnesota trades up with the Jets. They get J.J. McCarthy. And then Denver, which is another key piece in this puzzle that allows Quinyon Mitchell to fall to 22. But Denver, desperate for a quarterback, they go Bo Nix. So 6 of the 12 quarterbacks go early. And that run on offensive players to start the draft, right? One after another. The receivers, right? All 3 receivers. The Giants, which was a pivotal piece in the draft, we thought that they may go quarterback, which could have changed things a little bit, right? They go no, they go Malik Neighbors. So they go receiver out of LSU, reminiscent of Odell Beckham. So they opt for the receiver. I still think they're a mess with Daniel Jones. And then you have this run continues on offensive players. And it sets the stage. It was perfect. And as we're all watching, who would have thought that Howie at 22 would have his choice of the 2 best cornerbacks? The one area of concern, as we know, cornerback. We all saw the Eagles secondary last year during the slide, and really over the last couple of years. They were very prone to big plays and to a lot of space to really good quarterbacks. And so what a dream that you're able to land your choice of the 2 best corners. I mean, it's unbelievable. So Arnold and Mitchell, right? Mitchell, obviously from Toledo. Arnold from Alabama. They've been jockeying as the 1-2 corners in this draft. Now, Arnold is a converted safety. He's a little bit more physical than Mitchell. Mitchell can run. Mitchell has better closing speed. And all you need to know is that Nick Saban said that Quinyon Mitchell was his number 1 target in the portal, but then he never entered the portal. One of the things that I like about Mitchell, and we'll dive deeper into it, but one of the things I like about, besides his ridiculous speed, 6 feet, can run, got real good closing ability, but he's got this loyalty thing. Like, he was not a top prospect coming out of high school. Toledo takes a chance on him. He's loyal to Toledo and does not opt out and go into the portal, which I like. That shows me some character from Quinyon Mitchell. He looked good last night wearing that Eagle hat. And so they go with Mitchell, who's I think just a tad better pure corner, right, than Arnold when it comes to in the pass game. Arnold will give you run support. Some of the knock on Mitchell is that he's not going to give you a ton of run support, right? He's not going to like put his nose down and scuff it up a little bit in the run game. I mean, that's kind of the what projects what some of the scouts think, but they love him, and clearly a lot of people that I talk to, a lot of scouts across the league, think that he was the top cornerback prospect. So you cannot go wrong. I mean, that was the perfect draft. I mean, you think about the perfect day one. Now you sit here, you didn't exhaust any of your coffers, right? Like all the assets that you have locked away, that war chest, like the 2 picks, 50 and 53 today for day 2, you didn't have to touch, right? So now you're sitting there today with 50 and 53 going into the day 2. This is a perfect spot. And it checked all the boxes, right? One of your biggest needs was cornerback. He's the best player on the board, and he's a character guy. So, like, you check the boxes in that spot. It was a perfect – it's one of those rare things where the board just falls your way, man. Howie didn't have to overthink it. He didn't have to trade up, right? There was no temptation. It was easy. Like, as the draft is going and you see the run, right? You see at 12, Denver go Knicks, right? Then you see the Raiders go with Brock Bowers trying to get a playmaker. And then the Saints go Fuaga and the Colts go Liatu Latu. You start to go, well, wait a second, man. This is incredible. And then the Seahawks go with Murphy, who is, I think, good value there. The tackle out of Texas, right? Then the Vikings go edge with Dallas Turner, and you're going, wow. And then this was the key one. Cincinnati going with Mims, the big O-line prospect out of Georgia. At that point, you said, hey, man, all right, they're going to have their choice. And then it follows through because when you're looking at the Rams, they don't need a corner. They go with Jared Verse. Great value, by the way. Pittsburgh took Joey Porter last year, right? Miami wasn't going to take a quarter. So you're sitting there going, we'll take it. We'll just sit back and have our choice. Well, very great draft. And it followed what was a banner day in Philadelphia. The obviously what took place opposite the draft in South Philadelphia, Wells Fargo Center. 10-9-8, 76ers. Sing it, JP! Sing it in
Let's
Spanish.
go! Aplaudan los manos. Todo el mundo para Filadelfia. 76ers, pisar tus pies. Todo el mundo para Filadelfia. 76ers. Let's go, cuz. Let's go.
Well, that's right. The Sixers last night, in a game, I have to tell you, I kind of felt, I think we all felt would go this way, where this would be the bounce back. And you saw it in Orlando last night as well, where the Magic were down 0-2 in the series to Cleveland, just blew out the Cavs. Even though it got a little gross at the end of the second quarter and a little weird, and they were down at halftime, I kind of wasn't in panic mode. You kind of felt like they were ready to erupt, and they erupt in the third quarter. They're able to get margin. The threes are just falling. Maxey's hot. Embiid, of course, with just a monster, right? He just gives you 50 burger in game 3. And I'm not saying you expect a 50 burger and you expect a pretty almost sweatless win in that sense. I don't think that there was a lot of angst in the fourth quarter. I didn't feel any watching that game. It felt like this was the comeback game, right? And, you know, I'm not going to call it, there's that term, the dead cat bounce. I don't think that was it. I think, look, these are two evenly matched teams, and the Sixers blew certainly game 2. You could say game 1 as well, but I really think game 2. I think they should have came back 1-1, obviously, after what happened in game 2. So these two teams are pretty evenly matched. You expected the Sixers to bounce back, and look, it's going to come down to Sunday. Like the series and all the momentum, it'll be Sunday, right? If you're able to win and hold home court, look, you're golden. You're sitting there, and now it's 2-2. Now the pressure's all on New York to defend home court. You lose, and it's probably over, right? I did like their moxie. I thought their Tyrese Maxey was very good last night after giving away that game. They came back strong. They came back fortified. We saw Kelly Oubre play much better. We saw Nick Nurse go to campaign, who provided a lot of energy. It's something that I know Devon wanted to see. He and I talked about that the other day, about potential lineup changes. That campaign, who has played in playoffs, who could shoot the ball a little bit, who's another secondary ball handler. Look, campaign was a big spark for them. Again, Oubre was better. I thought you had a little more, support from everyone else. Not Buddy Hield, but not really Tobias. I mean, he couldn't get the double digits. But Oubre giving you 15, some good defense. And this played out differently where they were able to take away the role players. Brunson had a great game, right? Brunson was fantastic, 39. But look, all of a sudden, Hart, DiVincenzo, right? The other Villanova guys didn't do anything. Hartenstein, Frankenstein, the whole thing, they didn't do anything. And it really was a one-man show with Brunson. And I do think the series takes a little bit of a turn, because I think you kind of realize what you should do against the Knicks. And instead of throwing all those assets at Brunson, maybe you let Jalen Brunson get his, right? And then you focus on Josh Hart, and you focus on playing them more straight up instead of collapsing defense, and taking away some of the role players and some of those energy players. But it did hold true, the old adage, that the role players fare better at home than on the road. And that's kind of the story of Game 3. We await Game 4 Sunday at 1 p.m. This portion of the Anthony Gargano Show brought to you by the Bet Park Sportsbook and Casino app. Make sure you download it today. Have some fun for the playoffs. And then the third leg of the stool, man, how about it? Fightins and Zack Wheeler. Wheeler right now in the power rankings, the top pitcher in all of baseball. And Bryce goes yard back from paternity leave, a present to his newborn. Congratulations to the Harpers. And Phil's salvaged that in Cincinnati. It's on to San Diego. So they get a split in Cincy after winning the first game, dropping to the next two, and then they win yesterday behind Wheeler, who just is a gem. He's just dealing right now. What a day in Philadelphia. That's popping off, brought to you by Olipop. Find your favorite Olipop. That's soda. That's actually good for you, but it's tasty. At your nearest Wawa. That's right, your nearest Wawa. Good morning, JP.
Buenos dias, cuz.
Great singing, by the way.
Thank you so much. What a great night we had. A great day. Let's put it that way. Great day. You start with the Phillies. Great start for Zack Wheeler. You mentioned the Bryce Harper home run. And then it leads into the night where we talked about it. We were all in angst. We were all a little nervous. Not sure what's going to happen with the Sixers and the Birds draft. But the Sixers, I mean, last night, listen, you had guys step up, and you mentioned it, role players step up at home, but Joel Embiid, oh my God.
Yeah.
How can you not love this man? 50 points. He was big in that second half. Let's throw Maxey in there too, as he got his most improved player trophy before the game, which is really cool to see. They played steady in that first half, and then you saw them take it to the next gear in that third quarter. Maxey and Embiid scored the 28 of the 43 points in that third quarter, which was huge. And then Embiid with his best Brad Lidge impersonation closing out the game. 50 points to finish it, because like everything in the game was awesome. But then you hear the Woj report after the game, and you're just like,
about the Bell's
palsy. And then this morning we have Andrew Frazier because I really didn't know the extent of Bell's palsy, and he explaining like it really
your nerves go dormant.
And that's crazy.
And you could see that part of his face, and it's interesting because there were a couple doctors on Twitter that saw it and diagnosed it, and then they were asked about it yesterday. He was quiet, and then last night it comes out. Listen, I have to say, I mean, he's a warrior, right? Like, you got to admit, even those people that go, he's hurt all the time, right? Okay, he battles through it, man. Like, you forget, like, he's on this repaired knee, all right? He's got Bell's palsy.
Yeah.
And he just goes for 50.
Yeah. He just goes out there and balls.
And he was feeling last night from 3.
Yeah, he was. He was.
Like, you just gotta sometimes just go, man, I appreciate like the effort, dude. Like, you're battling through it. I know it's I know the injuries. He talked about it last night as he's there with the sunglasses to protect his eyes. He talked about, hey, I can easily go, woe is me, and I get hurt. He knows it. I get hurt all the time. Every playoff, something happens.
Mm-hmm.
You feel snake bitten. But, you battle back, you score 50. Let's see if, he can sustain. Because if he can sustain, they should be able to beat the Knicks.
Yeah, and then good thing to watch last night that not a lot of people are going to talk about this morning is Joel. So obviously Mitch Robinson goes down. No one wants to see any injuries, right? But then you put Hartenstein in some foul trouble. Now Hartenstein, you can't get that push little floater that he's got. So that really helped Joel Embiid. He was 12 of 13 from the free throw line in the fourth quarter. That's what we're talking about, closing out the game. But that's what we're talking about. We knew that calls were going to go our way. We knew that at home with that home court advantage, those role players would step up. But it was so cool to see that, yes, people did step up. Campaign, you love seeing him skipping down the court after shooting those threes. But Joel Embiid carrying this team at the end of the game to close it out was just freaking awesome, cousin. And we come back for game 4, and we'll see what happens. But this is now.
You saw the role play you mentioned, Campaign. I love his energy.
He's great.
He's got a little swag to him, which I love, right?
Yeah.
And played the Port Oubre.
Yeah, Oubre
fresh after crashing the Lamborghini, right?
What that story, cuz?
I mean, the Lambo.
Can we get his driver for him? Like,
I know, dude. Like, whether it's his bicycle or a Lambo or a skateboard. I know my man Jimmy Garecki, all right, who's a skateboard legend, who's watching the show right now. Jimmy G will be your designated skateboarder, all right? So just, stay off of anything with wheels, Cal. Just stay off it.
I love that matchup though, Kelly with Dante DiVincenzo, a little mismatch there.
Yes, and he played well last night.
Yeah,
he really did play well last night. Then the draft was perfect, man. It was great. I love the draft. I have to tell you, man, I dig the draft. It's we
awesome.
all love it, all right? It's why it's one of the great events of the year.
It's good entertainment.
Yeah.
Like I look back to that 30 for 30 when they look back at the 83 draft with John Elway. Like that's the draft. Like it's reality TV. It's really what it is, and it's so much drama. It's so
this quarterback draft is fascinating. I mean,
6 QBs,
6 and 12. Yeah. 6 out of 12.
Insane.
The odds, right? The math tells you that you're going to be there's going to be at least probably 3 to 4 are busts.
Yeah, no,
to make it.
That's really what it is. Yeah. So with the Eagles,
now I like these quarterbacks. I know
12 though.
Well, I thought that was desperation. That was Denver desperation.
They haven't learned from their many mistakes. Yeah, the past couple years.
I don't. I didn't.
We feel for you, DNVR.
I also think that the Giants, I think they messed up. Like, I love Neighbors.
Yeah.
But if you got McCarthy, he's a perfect face of the franchise. You may hate him at all, and he may be a little bit overblown, But I got to tell you, if I'm the Giants, I go McCarthy all day long.
I don't know, because I think Daniel Jones is a great quarterback.
Washington,
I didn't
think
like that.
Smart. You don't pass up Daniel, so you're able to get Jaden Daniels.
He's going to be, especially with those weapons out in DC,
Yeah.
I'm a little concerned about that one.
Yeah, no, listen,
He's going to be nice.
It's going to be,
It's gonna be a pain in the butt.
That's a good pick.
Yeah.
No, I think they're legitimate.
I love his mechanics. He's great with the blitz. Kevin Nagandi broke it down perfectly yesterday. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to seeing him twice a year.
No. But it's going to be a lot of fun. I tell you one thing, man. That was just a great night of sports. Great night of sports. So here's your lineup for today. Let's fill you in. So coming up after these messages, we're going to be talking to Baldi. Baldi will break down the draft, including the Eagles and all what happened last night. So we'll have a little meat locker session coming up next. Then the daily grind with the big brain. He's back today. Then straight up, probably the way we're heading a little after 10, we're going to talk to Leg Day, to break down Sixers and Knicks and what he saw and the rest of the NBA playoffs. Zach Berman to look at day 2 and some of the prospects that we're going to have. Of course, Zachariah, who does such a great job for the All Eagles show right here at PHLY. And then a little Cousins Clubhouse. And then a little TV Todd to get you set for the weekend. It's going to be a busy Friday. We're certainly looking at overtime. So hang with us. And as always, like us, subscribe to us, and either you watch us or you can download it and listen to us on the podcast. There's a multitude of ways to hang out with us on this momentous Friday. What a Friday across the Delaware Valley. Let's talk about Butcher Box, all right? Because I love some Butcher Box. Yesterday, it was take your kids to work day, so I had my 2 animals with me. I had Anthony and Massimo, 14 and 11, and they're meat eaters. They're carnivores, right? So if you're out there and you have a family, I have to suggest cost, taste, right? Like, this is prime meat and seafood delivered right to your door. We're entering grilling season. You got to get to know Butcher Box. I mean, we're talking about the highest quality meat and seafood. And this is what I love. 100% grass-fed beef. No added antibiotics, no added hormones, none of that nonsense. 100% grass-fed beef, free-range organic chicken, pork raised crate-free, and, of course, wild-caught seafood. I mean, you can't beat this stuff. Delivered right to your doorstep. Free shipping. Yeah, you can curate your own box however you want it. I took the all beef because the kids are the beef eaters. So we're going to be doing burgers and steaks over the next couple of weeks. You're going to love it. I mean, it's the highest quality of cuts. Great value. And you know about feeding families and, just yourself, guys. Like, it's expensive. So check out. You got to go to butcherbox.com/PHLY. Use the code. This is important. PHLY. You get $20 off your first box. Butcher Box. Check it out today before time runs out. It is just fantastic. And then we're brought to you by the Bet Park Sportsbook and Casino app. Man, it's a big weekend. NBA playoffs, right? Baseball, hockey playoffs, which are a lot of fun. What more fun do you want than the Bet Park Sportsbook app? So if you want parlays and you want in-game betting and you want props, like all the props you want, I mean, down to steals, right? Blocks. Like, you can dive deep into the game, man. This is what it's about, man. It's true. Dive deep and better chance of becoming a winner. I'll tell you that much. So check it out. And look, you can have some fun while the games are going on. They have the all your favorite casino games that you love, right? Live blackjack dealers, roulette, whatever you want is right there on the app. It's so much fun. Do yourself a favor. Download it now. If you make a winning $10 sports bet, you get $125 in sportsbook bonus bets. So check that out. Bet DraftParks.com. Got to be 21 or older. Please gamble responsibly. You or someone you know has a gambling problem wants help. Please call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right. Now, brought to you by Butcher Box. How about Baldi and the meat?
Baldi, Baldi. Oh, let's talk some football. Ay, Baldi, Baldi. Oh, he likes meats and football. Oh, Baldi.
All right, poolside premonition. Let's start. What an amazing night last night. But I got to start. Baldi put a tweet out, and he's in the pool, right? And he goes, poolside premonition. The Atlanta Falcons are thinking about a quarterback. And lo and behold, the biggest piece of the draft last night, and that puzzle was the Falcons taking our boy, Michael Penix, Baldi.
Yeah, in fact, the tweet actually said that they were thinking about taking Michael Penix Jr. And I know people are confused, like, why do you give Kirk Cousins all this money, all this guaranteed money? Kirk Cousins is probably confused by it. But Arthur Blank is sitting there going, Kirk Cousins is going to have some success here, and he's going to have a chance for it. We got a new coach in Raheem Morris. But I want to dominate this division for the next 10 years. The way Mahomes is dominating, I'm not comparing him to Patrick Mahomes, but Kansas City has dominated their division for 8 straight years because, in large part, look, Andy Spags, the best quarterback in the league. They think they got the best quarterback in the draft. And Arthur Blank had great success with Matt Ryan. They won a lot of division titles. They went to a Super Bowl. They were the premier team in the South for a long time with Matt Ryan. And, and I feel like they think Michael Penix can learn from Kirk Cousins for a year. But look, if anything happens to Kirk, he tore his Achilles last year. They feel like they got the guy ready to go. And I feel like Raheem Morris, a young coach, Arthur Blank, Michael Penix Jr., let's put this thing together for the next decade.
Yeah, and we love it. His arm is ridiculous. We were on him early.
Ultimately, not only were we on it, but you have to win from the pocket in this league. That's where you win. You could be some of these guys that are flashy and run for a lot of yards. Ultimately, Mahomes still wins from the pocket. He creates, he extends plays, he does a lot of stuff. But that's what Michael Penix did for 2 years at Washington. At his time in Indiana, he elevated the Indiana program number 7 in the country until he got hurt. He elevated the Washington program all the way to the final, national championship game. He elevates programs and he wins from the pocket. And I think that's why he was my second favorite quarterback in this draft. We'll see what time does and how it plays out. But I think the Falcons, made a good move.
All right, let's skip around. I know you got a busy day ahead of you. You're going to be on the NFL Network all weekend long. This is Baldi time.
Yeah.
Let's go right to the Eagles because, the board plays out perfectly for Howie. He doesn't have to move, and he's got the top corner, a true CB1 in his lap.
No, it's unbelievable how it fell. In fact, Micah Parsons tweeted it out. How does Howie Roseman do this? The Georgia guys fell last year. Jalen Carter fell into him, I think with the 9th pick. But yeah, people thought that Indianapolis, Jacksonville, all these teams could take corners. And maybe if the Eagles wanted either Quinyon Mitchell or Terrion Arnold, they're going to have to move to get him. They didn't have to move. And really, Quinyon, it was a battle between Quinyon and Terrion, who's the number 1 corner in the whole draft. But, Quinyon could have easily, he had some issues coming out of high school. That's why he wasn't at a big D1 program. But then he proved himself at Toledo, and he could have gotten the transfer portal. He could have gone to Florida. He could have gone to all these SEC schools.
Nick Saban said that he was waiting. He was his number 1 prospect. He was waiting for him to enter the portal, and he never did.
No, because Toledo was so loyal to him. So he said, I'm going to give my loyalty to Toledo. And, he had the best times and measurements of any corner in this draft. I mean, he ran a 4.33, but that's one thing. That's Indianapolis. But when you watch the tape, cuz his ability to break on a ball, like he had over 40 passes defense in the last 2 years. His ability to close the gap, zone coverage, man coverage, play the ball in the air. He has all the skills that you're looking for. A tall, long corner, incredibly lightning fast, that can play the ball in the air. Oh, by the way, not only does he play the ball in the air, he didn't have a single penalty. He didn't not one of those defensive passes, he got there too soon.
Right.
His ability to time it, no penalties, led the country in passes defense 2 years in a row. He was an elite prospect.
When you compare and contrast Arnold, how do you, in your mind, how do you come up Mitchell? Because I agree with it too. I love Mitchell.
Well, the only thing is, Terrian, I thought going into last year that McKinstry, Kool-Aid, was the number one corner.
Right.
And because of his size and how he played. But really, Terrian Arnold, you watch him against Texas and taking down Xavier Worthy, where if he doesn't make the tackle, he's dancing in the end zone. His ability to tackle, play every scenario, every situation, whether it's bubble screens with, run defenders in front of you, you got to defeat the block, make the tackle. Whether it's playing the ball down the field, whether it's getting beat down the field and coming right back and making a great play. You see all of the things that you need to be a number one corner in Terrion.
And he's a converted safety, so he's better tackler. That's Mitchell's weakness, which is kind of tackling.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a weakness. I just think that
run support. Yeah.
I mean, but those things can show up sometimes. But Arnold had. That's why he rose this year. His overall play in the SEC, just a higher level of competition week in, week out. Seeing the LSU receivers, seeing Ricky Pearsall at Florida, just seeing the guys you see, all the guys at Florida, so I think just the level of competition week in, week out.
So let's go back. What shaped this? What shaped this was the run on all offensive players that nobody was looking. It's incredible, right? The 6 quarterbacks in the first 12 picks. It's unbelievable that Denver going with Bo Nix. There was a desperation clearly when it came to the quarterbacks.
It was desperation. And then, even right after Denver, the Raiders needed help too. They go Brock Bowers. They just drafted Michael Mayer the year before. So now they've got 2 tight ends they got to figure out. So that was a little bit of a head scratcher. But yeah, I meed it was 14 straight offensive players. And, Indianapolis took what I said, during this whole process, that Latu was the best defensive player in this draft, and he's the first defensive player taken. He's, you put Latu next, on that defensive front right now, that's going to be a problem for a lot of teams.
Yeah, I loved. Look at the value the Rams got with Verse.
Yeah.
Wow.
They didn't have a first-round pick since 2016 when they took Jared Goff. So Aaron Donald just retires. They struck gold in the 3rd round last year with Kobe Turner and Byron Young. Both of those guys combined, they had 17 sacks. But they really developed. They needed an end. Those guys can play inside. Really, Kobe Turner is going to be the replacement for Aaron Donald. Byron Young is outside. Now they got Jared Verse outside. They're putting this defense back together, and so they will be highly competitive, and he's going to have a real chance in a really interesting defense. Now that Brandon Staley's back coaching the defense, so I think they're in good shape right now with what they did.
All right, so let's start at the top. So the Bears obviously went Caleb Williams as we all expected, and then Daniels goes, which we expected Washington. There was that. They were floating out the JJ at 2, which we didn't understand. Plays out the way we thought it would. Daniels clearly the number 2. May, like we thought, New England goes 3. Then Marvin goes to Arizona. No trade out for Arizona or the Chargers.
Yeah, no. So really, when you look at Arizona, they had 6 of the first 90 picks. Like to gain, they're not going to be able to use all the picks that they have. But you
Right.
have 6 of the first 90. You don't need extra picks. You might look for next year, but there's the team that has to build now. So go get Kyler Murray, arguably the best receiver in this draft. They needed an X receiver. Ever since DeAndre Hopkins left, there was a big void out there. They tried to fill it with Hollywood Brown. He's not an X like that. So go get yourself a big X that's going to get 120 targets minimum. You got Trey McBride, who really exploded as tight end last year. You're starting to build this thing piece by piece. That made a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, I completely agree. And then Harbaugh goes like how Harbaugh does. Like, we're going to fortify that front, and they go alt.
Well, not just that, but he recruited Joe Alt hard when he was at Michigan, and he turned him down to go to Notre Dame. But he's been inside John Alt's house, his father's house. John played with my brother in Kansas City. His father played with my brother in Kansas City. His other brother played for the Flyers. And so this is a family of athletes. I saw his dad sitting down last night. I've known John a long, long time, since he was a rookie in 1984.
Wow.
Joe's a technician. He's Jonathan Ogden size.
Yeah.
And like anybody that thought that he could just play left tackle, he's an athlete. If they want him to play at right tackle, Rashawn Slater at left tackle, Harbaugh is putting this thing together. They're going to run the ball. They're going to protect their quarterback. They're going to find receivers. They're going to find new running backs. But they've got the fortification up front right now.
So this is where I was fascinated, because this is one of the crossroads of the draft. The Giants at 6. Now, do they go with McCarthy? JJ's on the board. Do they take McCarthy or Penix, right? Who's still there? And they opt to go Malik Neighbors, who we love, great receiver out of LSU, which says we want to stick with Daniel Jones. Were you surprised that they didn't take the quarterback, man? They had the heir apparent in their lap.
I was surprised. I really was. And the owner, John Mara, basically said at the owners' meetings this year, about a month ago or so, he said, look, if they feel that a quarterback is the best player on the board, if they feel like he's the best player when we pick, then I'm giving them my blessing, the green light to go take him. And so I thought, when I heard that from the owner, who doesn't say those kind of things, but he basically said to Joe Shane and Brian Dable, if you think quarterback's the best player, then go get him. And so maybe they just didn't value J.J. McCarthy like they did Malik Neighbors, and they're going to build around Daniel Jones and see what happens right now and ride that wave. But Malik Neighbors is a dynamic player. They got a really, really good. Look, they haven't had a great player at that position since Odell's early years in New York. They're going to have that chance right now. They added pieces on the offensive line in free agency. It looks like either Daniel Jones or Drew Lock, who they signed from Seattle, that they're going to go with those two quarterbacks right now.
Yeah, that was puzzling. I love Neighbors, but the chance to get the quarterback there, and it could have been Penix, who could cut it through the North Jersey wind.
I'll be honest with you, because I wasn't the biggest J.J. McCarthy fan, and then I interviewed him the other day for the NFL Network. Boy, that guy interviews great. He's something. When you sit down and you talk to him, like, you see why people were really excited by the possibility of having him coming into your team. He wins you over pretty quickly.
I had a GM tell me that one of the reasons why all the talk with JJ was you just love him, like you fall in love, like you're in the room with him, he wins you over, So that
I see
that fits. So in one of our Meat Locker mock drafts, you had Latham going to Tennessee. All right. Of course, poolside premonition to get Michael Penix, like we discussed. Then the Bears, and you had this in one of our Meat Locker drafts. Rome, I love this pick for Chicago, where you added a young receiver to go with your young franchise quarterback. You already got some veterans there, and we love Rome Odunze.
So it was almost fate. it just so happened that Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze were on the same flight from Los Angeles to Detroit 2 days ago. And anybody that meets Rome Odunze, they fall in love with the guy. He's just entertaining. He's super smart. He's just a guy. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to fly the plane, make sure that Caleb gets to Detroit on time for his, his coronation to the Chicago Bears. Like, that's going to be a fantastic duo for a long time to come. Like, I don't know the last time Chicago has had a quarterback, wide receiver potential the way those two guys do. Look, if Rome Odunze was there, I was in the New York Jets all night last night. If Rome Odunze was there at 10, they were taking Odunze. And, you can't – they had a plan. Like Olu was there, they were taking Olu. And if Odunze was gone. So they felt good. They traded back a pick. Got himself a fourth-round pick. Took Olu at 11 and allowed Minnesota to go up there and get McCarthy.
And that was key, right? Like, I was surprised that the Broncos or now the Broncos don't have a lot of ammo, right? So they were kind of stuck. And the Raiders, I thought, like, if you're the Raiders, maybe you make the play to kind of get up. I guess they like Penix over JJ in that sense.
Well, we don't know because, they didn't make a move. But they, I think a lot of people were shocked, and maybe the Raiders were too, that Penix went 8 to Atlanta.
Yes.
And so maybe that guy was off the board, and that all they did was just Tom Telesco, the new general manager, said, I don't feel like the Raiders felt like they needed to jump up to 7 with Tennessee in order to get Penix. I felt like they probably thought
definitely
that Penix, that Bo Nix was Sean Payton's guy, and that they could sit there and wait on Penix to fall to him, because I thought he would go between 8 and 13, and the Raiders would take him if he was there, and they didn't pull the trigger to go high enough to get the quarterback.
And then I love how it kind of plays out with Saints. Fuaga is a terrific pick for New Orleans.
They fired Doug Marone, the offensive line coach. They fired their offensive staff. Trevor Penning did not work out. Ryan Ramczyk might never play again at right tackle. They needed an offensive tackle. And so they got Fuaga, he could play right tackle. He was a star at Oregon State. He probably could play left tackle. Depends on where they want to play him. They'd probably give Penning another year at left tackle, play Fuaga at right tackle to start with, and go from there.
Yeah, and you talked about Liatu Latu, who
draft. And so I think Indianapolis could have taken a corner right there.
Yeah.
But with Latu sitting there, DeForest Buckner will play next to him. You got 2 Polynesians right there. Like, it made a lot of sense.
And then as you go on, Brian Thomas, who I think is one of the sleeper value picks. He's the 4th receiver, but a stud opposite neighbors at LSU. And Jacksonville, who could use some outside help. You love that pick.
I love the pick. Look, it's about supporting Trevor Lawrence. I mean, they lose Calvin Ridley. So, they need to give him as much help as they possibly can. And so they got an explosive, big ex-receiver to take Ridley's place, who was a 1-year player. And then you just keep building around your quarterback, and that's all that is.
And then I love what Detroit did. Talk about the Lions and how smart that front office, man, terrific. They spy Arnold. What value to trade up, host of the draft in Detroit, trade up and get your corner. We know how badly they needed secondary help.
Well, they went and get the second best corner. They got their best corner. They went and got Terry and Arnold. And so, it's arguably with what the Eagles did at 22, with Quinyon, but they were the 2 best corners in the draft. And so it was a position of need. You look at what they've done with Hutch and with Campbell and with Brian Branch last year. Like, they're building a championship-level defense right now.
And then it's interesting. Let's look at the Cowboys for a second, because I thought they kind of got screwed when Tampa goes Barton, because you love Barton. But then come back and get Guyton to play the tackle spot. That's a good pick for them.
Yeah, it's a good pick. I mean, they drafted Tyler Smith. he'll be the left guard. Tyler Guyton will be the left tackle. Who knows? Maybe they take Zach Frazier at center, trade up and get, an elite center that's going to go off the board real early sometime today, and get to center. Like, it won't surprise me to see them find some way to get Zach Frazier and really put that line back together.
All right, so the Birds, 2 picks today. Look at some of the prospects that are there. Jaden Hicks from Washington State, safety. You might want to look at Blake Fisher. I mean, I don't know if he's going to be there. It's a guy that I know you like if you want some O-line help, right?
Yeah.
Give me some names that Eagle fans.
Cooper Beebe out of Kansas State. They got 50 and 53. So Cooper Beebe could be there at 50. He might go a little bit earlier. That'd be a guy that they would certainly target, at this position right now. I think that when you look at a guy like, say, Marshawn Nealand, is a guy from Central Michigan, a defensive end. Muhammad Kamara, a defensive end. All those guys have value. As a pass rusher right now, I don't think they're out of the woods with that right now. But there are some really good safeties right now. USC has a really good safety. So I think some of those guys could certainly show up right now.
Do you like any of the linebackers like Peyton Wilson from Carolina? You got Junior Colson from Michigan.
Peyton Wilson is a first-round pick.
Yeah.
He's tore his ACL twice, tore it in high school once, tore it at North Carolina State. He's had shoulder surgery. But he is an elite. He's a top 20 player in this draft.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, so like Edgerrin Cooper at Texas A&M, if you want to go second-round linebacker, Peyton Wilson, Edgerrin Cooper. Look, if you want to look at Trot, like in the third round, like he's a guy that I don't think you would take him at 50 or 53, but he plays really hard. He's got playmaking ability. He's not as big as his dad, but he strikes you. He does a lot of things. He rushes the passer. Like he's a guy that could be in play.
Is there a prospect that you're looking at that could slide in at guard and then later potentially kick back out to tackle? Like I look at some of the tackles. I don't think Rosengarten is that guy that can play guard to tackle out of Washington. Is there anybody that you like that could fit that kind of bill?
Yeah, I mean, I think that you look at a guy, say like you could go Kieran Armagagi from Yale. He was the left tackle at Yale, tested really well. The Eagles brought him in. They've looked at him. He's a guy that can play guard. He's got enormous, length. He's got 36-inch arms on a 6'5" plus frame. But he also, he moves really well. He's a guy at 325 pounds that could be 335 pounds. He could play guard and he could play tackle. He's a left tackle at Yale. Like that's a guy that could do it. Amarius Mims is out there, like just an enormous freak that could probably do both. Javon Foster from Missouri is a guy that sort of fits that bill of what you're talking about, Cuz.
Who's your favorite day two? Give me like 2 or 3 favorite day 2 prospects.
Well, Lad McConkey at wide receiver is a guy that, is going to be a really great player. Amarius Mims is down the road, might become the best tackle in this whole draft. He has that type of size and potential. So I think, that's a guy. I love Peyton Wilson. That guy just smacks you. But Edgerrin Cooper, too. Both those guys are really good players. Chris Jenkins, from the University of Michigan, his father was a great player in this league, is a guy that's really, really interesting to me. And then I think that, when you look at a guy like Chris Braswell at Alabama, like that guy tested really, really good as an outside linebacker, pass rusher. Like that guy's still on the board right now. Cedric Gray at North Carolina is an off-the-ball inside linebacker who's a really, really good player. That's, he's going to go in the second round, maybe the third round.
Carolina had a good defense. If you remember, especially 2 years ago when they had that run, that was a good team. I'm with you on that.
Tyler Nubin from Minnesota, safety, like he had 14 career interceptions. Like he was the number one safety on my board. Like he's still out there. Cameron Kitchens. We knew no safeties were going to go, but Cameron Kitchens at Miami. You mentioned Jaden Hicks. Kalen Bullock from USC is a really fantastic player. Like I can see a bunch of these. I see 2 or 3 safeties going to second round today.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I know you got a busy day. All right, so get on that flight. Get on out to Los Angeles NFL Network. We'll be watching you all weekend long, and then we'll talk to you next week, brother.
Let's catch up next week. Let's review this whole thing. Let's see how the Eagles did, what they do. 2 big picks here. I can see Howie, even trading up today to go get one of these marquee players that fell, that probably had a first-round grade and, slipped into the second round.
You got 2. You got ammo there, man. So you could totally see it. Brother, great stuff as always. The great Baldi.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you, man.
Meat Locker. That's right. Brought to you by Butcher Box. This portion of the program brought to you by Rite Aid as well. That's right. Your neighborhood pharmacy. Visit your local Rite Aid today. Stock up on allergy relief or catch up on immunizations for RSV, shingles, and more. Walk in or schedule a vaccine appointment at riteaid.com. And now, busy day. Don't forget, coming up, legs to break down Sixers. But first, the daily grind, the brain. Brain.
Good morning, my friend.
Good morning. What do you say, buddy? How about a 50 burger by Joel last night?
Yeah, look, and that was a needed game. Look, it's interesting. They were down, I think, with 3 at half, and I came very, very, very close to making a large bet on them, and then the line changed as I was putting it in, and I really thought they were going to win when they were losing at halftime. Great win, they needed it. Look, it's interesting. The line, I think, on Parks right now, Anthony, is 5, I think, for Game 4. Only way I can look, believe it or not, is the Knicks, though, in Game 4. I think the Knicks showed in that game, in my opinion, that they can still play with this team, and this it's not going to be an easy series. I think it's going to be a close game either way, and I think I don't think it's easy for the Sixers to win by margin. My side would be the Knicks in Game 4.
I don't disagree there, brother. 5 is a healthy number. I completely understand. I mean, if you're going to look at it, without a doubt, Game 4 should be the stress game, right? Like that should be
I agree.
That's great everything. Basketball game, close. Like you saw last night, and you kind of like I thought Orlando would win last night, and then they just rolled them, right? Like they just rolled Cleveland. And it's the same reason why you and I had the same feeling at halftime, which is I thought the Sixers would take over in the second half. And we'll see. Well, Sunday is the tester, right?
It is. And again, to me, there have been, in my opinion, like 2 really close games. Sixers were 0-2 in those games. It's hard to win a series, and I'm going to keep saying, Anthony, when you give away games. I hope they do it. Again, if they go 6-1 in this series, because that's what, to me, they kind of have to do, because they gave away the first 2, makes it pretty challenging and hard, especially when you're not like vastly better. And I don't think the Sixers are vastly better.
It's not 6-1, it's 3-1 now.
Right. Okay, now I'm saying they should have won the first. I mean, to me, right, you're right. But like to me, when I watch those first 2 games, especially Game 2. Game 2 was an all-time. As I texted you, I think you can wait the next 5 years. I'll make a gentleman's bet here. I don't think there'll be a more unlikely game that we will see in the playoffs.
Yep.
In the next 5 years, maybe even in the regular season too, than what happened at the end of that Sixers-Knicks game. It's an all-time loss, but that's not, you're not on the right side of that. But look, it was a great win for them. They needed it. But obviously, look, it's Game 4 is going to be hard, and they're going to obviously have to win a game in New York on top of it. It's still very much an uphill battle, in my opinion.
All right, so, Brain, let's look at Sunday and suss out Sunday for a little bit from a strategic standpoint, because I always like to look at it from a basketball or a sport kind of strategic look. So one of the recipes last night was, hey, let's focus on Hart. Let's focus on DiVincenzo. Let's not, try to exhaust our defense just throwing it at Brunson. If you allow Brunson to get his, then and you take away the role players, and now with Mitchell Robinson dinged, that's kind of an interesting recipe for Nick Nurse, right? So going forward into Sunday, maybe he continues that. So, and I know you liked a lot of the unders yesterday for their role players.
Yeah, well, yesterday in that game, Anthony, and I went I texted you. I went 5-0 in that game, 13-3 in the NBA yesterday on Brad'sBestBets.com. 13-3, 5-0 in that game. But yeah, that was I did take a bunch of the unders in that game. I had they made Hart's rebounds 12.5, which I thought was high. Points 9.5, which I thought was too low. If they make Oubre 9.5 again, I will look to attack that as well. But Anthony, look, we talked about it, right? I agree with you. It just seems like throughout time when you just allow the one player to do well and kind of remove everyone else, it just seems like for whatever reason, that's a better strategy just from the time that I've been following sports. It's just whatever guys don't get as involved, or I don't know what it is. And it just seems like, maybe the one lone ranger has a great game, but the team doesn't do well enough. And yesterday Brunson got his. I don't know how many he finished with. He had a good game, but you saw again, like Dante DiVincenzo did nothing. OG's really been, kind of like for a while now in these playoffs, hasn't done anything offensively. Again, I still think Knicks are a limited team, Anthony. I really do.
I do
and
too.
again,
It's why I think the Sixers have a chance in the series.
Oh no, they definitely have a chance. And I say not as I know for a fact they're the better team. Like if Embiid's playing and is relatively healthy, this is a true false. The Sixers are the better team. But in a short series, a 7-game series, especially, I'm going to keep harping on it, when you literally, on a gift platter, hand one game that's 99.99999 away, and the other game you just should have won and you give away, as I said, it makes it just challenging, and you put yourself in a tough spot. Hopefully they can do it. I know they're the better team, but Knicks, they battle you, man, and they're not going to make it easy. And if you slip up for a second, and you just let go of the gas pedal a little bit, they're ready to they're going to pounce and beat you.
All right. So what do you like? What do you have for tonight and the weekend?
Yeah, Anthony, I'm going to start in the Indiana game, and I'm going to go Pascal Siakam. Look, he's been incredible, okay? But I think it's being a little bit caked into the number too much now. He's been phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. But I took under 27.5 points, Anthony. Look, I'm looking at this. He's 66-14 to the under. 66-14, averaging 21. Now, he's done it 2 games in a row. But as you know, Anthony, as a student of the game, especially, look, NBA playoffs are harder to score, not easier for the most part. And the more the series goes on, I was listening to JJ Redick talk about it. Now, it's not game 6 yet, but he's always like, by the time game 6 comes, he goes, everything these teams are doing. It's like, it's so hard to just score. It's most harder to score just because you know the tendencies. I'm going to dare a very good Siakam. I get it, but to score 28 points, I just think it's too high. I think we're getting too much of a recency bias off the fact he's had the 2 great games in a row. Give him credit for that, but I think it's too high. And I'm going to take kind of the counterintuitive to that, or the opposite way, in the sense that if he's not doing quite as well, I kind of like Halliburton to do a little bit better. Halliburton, Anthony, made his over under 16.5. He's averaging over 20. And again, he went under 2 in a row. Does that mean, it's funny, on my site yesterday, I gave out Jalen Brunson under 4.5 rebounds, and I had a client go, he went over 2 in a row. What are you talking about? I'm like, well, if it's as easy as, he's just going to do it 2 times, he does it 3 times, then we'd all be zillionaires like Bill Gates. But to me, Halliburton, even since he's come back, Anthony, look at the data here. He is 21-12. I have 21-12, which is a pretty nice sample size to over 16.5 points. Averages over 20. I think 16.5 points is too low. And I'm going to give you Jaden McDaniels, Anthony, of the Minnesota Timberwolves. This guy averages 3 rebounds a game. Now, he's getting a nice bump in, he's getting a nice bump in terms of his minutes. But Anthony, in 72 games, Jaden McDaniels has gone under 55 out of the 72 games, 55 and 17 of the under. He averages 3, plus most of his overs came when Karl-Anthony Towns was out. So to me, I think that number should be priced at 3.5. They're giving us 4.5. That I happen to like that, Anthony. And I'm going to give you 2 props, one in a Phillies game. But I'll start Emerson Hancock, pitcher Seattle Mariners, going against one of the hardest teams in Major League Baseball to strike out. The Arizona Diamondbacks are a top 3 team, or a top 3 team last year. Very difficult team to strike out. Emerson Hancock, not a great pitcher on top of it. 5-1 to the under this year, Anthony. Not a big K guy. I'm going to take under 4.5 strikeouts. I'd make it 3.5. And then our Phillies game tonight, Anthony. Look, Joe Musgrove has not gotten off to a great start. Okay. But I like Joe Musgrove. I think he's a very good pitcher. In his last start, he only, against Toronto, a very good hitting team, he only gave up 5 hits in 7 innings. If you look at the data the previous 2 years, okay, Joe Musgrove, especially at home, it's even better because Petco is such a great stadium for pitchers. Joe Musgrove has given up less than 3 earned runs about 2/3 of the time for the past couple of years. Now, he started off slow this year. He's only done it 1 of his last 6. But I'm going to trust the data on the 2 previous years where Joe Musgrove, to me, is, let me look at this right here. He was, do I have this here? It looks like I don't, but he's 35-16. 35-16 at that under. So and the Phillies have been playing better, Anthony. I get it, but in that stadium, I'm going to take under 2.5 runs for Joe Musgrove. Hey, listen, Phillies can win 2-1. Where's your faith in Nola? Yeah,
I hear you, brother. I just got to bust them for you. Great stuff. All right, safe travels. I know you're traveling, so safe travels, and we'll catch up over the weekend. Enjoy, make it a profitable one. Brad'sBestBets.com and on Twitter at Brad'sBestBets. Of course, Brad brought to you by the Parx Sportsbook and Casino app. Make sure you download it. All the stuff that Brad talks about, you can find. All right, gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Got to be 21. Big brain. Enjoy the sports weekend, my brother.
I want to tell you one last thing, Anthony. You're going to laugh. I made do you know what a bridge jumper bet is or no?
No.
They call it a bridge jumper bet because if you lose, you're going to want to jump off a bridge. That's what they call it. I bet I risked $100,000 to win $500 on Cale Williams to go number 1 because I waited till the day of the draft. I did the same thing with Trevor Lawrence. I waited to the day. I did it with Victor Wembanyama. I waited to the day of the draft.
You're
taking
wild,
life.
Brad.
Nah, I mean, listen. It was a life insurance policy for 6 hours, so he doesn't something tragic. He doesn't run over by a bus.
Right.
But paid for my dinners in Charleston.
Hey, that's good stuff, brother. Oh, God. Thank God. Good stuff, man. Rich Summer. That's good stuff, man. We got to write about that. Man. I like it. The big brain. Thank you, brother. We appreciate it. Hey, coming up shortly. Oh, it's leg day. Cannot wait for some leg day to break down the NBA playoffs. And then Zach Berman will come back and look at day 2 and the Eagles situation. Looking forward to that. Let me tell you about Rite Aid. You know, when you wake up this morning, I woke up this morning and sneezed 100 times, right? Literally, it was like 13 in a row. My kids laugh because they count. Oh, that's a good streak, Daddy, right? Like, all right, it's like a free throw streak. Sneeze, pollen, all this stuff that's out there, right? This is why you got to go to your local Rite Aid pharmacy, all right? Allergies, they know how to combat them. They'll give you some of your symptoms, right? You could be sneezy. You could be brain fog, which I have often. You could be itchy eyes. I get that as well. So all that stuff, headaches, nasal issues, you could try a nasal rinse. They'll give you that. You could try some of the antihistamines. They're going to tell you kind of what to take, when to take it, non-drowsy, all that stuff. Just go to your local neighborhood Rite Aid pharmacist. They're there to help. They're part of the neighborhood, all right? That's why I love Rite Aid. My family's got a long history with Rite Aid. They're just wonderful people. I just always had great experiences. So I was looking forward to tell you about Rite Aid. Check it out. Stock up on allergy relief. All right, RiteAid.com. Check out your local Rite Aid. All right. Tell us about Olipop, my man.
Olipop, let's talk about it. Well, first off, I want to set the story up a little bit. So last night, shouts to the Philadelphia Union. They invited myself and our producer here, Andrew Frazier, to the opening of Union Yards. And so they gave away some free food. And so I left the event, and I was regretting my decision with my food. I picked a load of tots, but I really wanted a burger. So yesterday, after my little workout, I went to Wegmans, and me and my fiance got some stuff for some burgers. We walked by the cold beverage section. I was like, babe, we're having burgers tonight. I need a soda with it. So we got some Ollipops with our burgers last night, guys, because it's that delicious. You need the soda with the burger. We went a little healthier with the Ollipop. That's because Ollipop is the world's first functional soda with a classic soda taste and the benefits of plant-based fiber, ladies and gentlemen, as prebiotics and other botanical ingredients that support that gut health, ladies and gentlemen. And it's a new kind of soda with only 2 to 5 grams of sugar and 9 grams of fiber per can. And it's available in 30,000 retailers worldwide, including the new launch, right? Wawa, ladies and gentlemen. But they're available in all different kinds of retailers. I just mentioned I picked it up at Wegmans. I was picking up some quick groceries, but you can also find it at Target, Sprouts. You name it. They are available in any type of retailer. And right now, guys, we have you hooked up with the promo code. If you use the promo code PHLY20, it's right here on the bottom of the screen, the bottom left, you're watching live on YouTube. You'll get 20% off of your next Ollipop order. This discount only applies to one-time orders, not to subscription orders. Ollipop is sold online at drinkollipop.com or on Amazon or on the retailers that we just mentioned as well. So, guys, for your next burger night or tonight's pizza night at my household, we're definitely going to get the Ollipop with our pizza. So make sure you guys check it out, and thank you to our friends over at Ollipop.
Yeah, Friday night's a good pizza night.
Oh, always.
Friday night pizza night.
Yeah.
It's always been. Since I was a kid.
Yeah.
It was Friday night pizza night. Even in or out of Lent.
And Aunt Junior's going to get the 6 slices tonight.
Oh, yeah. we got him last night, too, for the draft. We got him in the Sixers game. So he just crushed.
Wings
he housed. No, just pizza, and he gets his fries, and he just housed.
Nice.
I think he housed 7. He did a 7 spot last
boy.
night. Yeah. 10 o'clock hour brought to you by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. Check out TrueMark.com/PHLY. Stop into your local branch to learn more about the credit union difference. So, you know what today is, especially after a pivotal game 3. Leg day.
Leg day. Leg day. Leg day. Leg day. Leg day.
With the pick, the 22nd pick, the Eagles.
You like your intro, cuz? You like your leg day?
Of me in the gym. I don't know how you got that footage, man. Somebody's following me around in the gym. That's cool, though. Yeah, it was leg day yesterday. Here we go. What's up, brother?
We love leg day. You looking great, brother. You're killing it, man. ESPN, the ALLCITY pocket, like, you know, just slaying it, and just love your takes and your breakdowns of this playoffs. It's been awesome. So let's start with last night, Joel's 50 burger, and kind of what you expected, where the Sixers would win that and defend their home court in a game 3.
Yeah, I mean, basically, yesterday morning I was on Get Up, First Take. I was on with Stephen A. talking about the game quite a bit, and I pretty much said they were going to win a game. I just had a feeling, and the reason I felt, because the question was, are you more confident in the Sixers getting a win or the Lakers getting a win? Like, both teams kind of similar situations, right? And I said, well, it's the Sixers, and it's because of who they're playing.
Yeah,
you know, the Lakers are playing a machine right now. Like the Denver Nuggets are a precise machine. And if you get them into any sort of close situation, you don't trust any team more in the league than them. They're so consistent, built around this great, great player. The Knicks, there's more fluctuation there, man. So it wasn't even as much about what I expected out of Embiid, because I think we all are a little bit uncertain about that. I mean, he put up good numbers in New York, clearly not right. So you don't know exactly what that's going to look like. I was pretty confident Maxey would play well last night. I didn't know who was going to step up, because some of the role players have been a non-factor in New York, right? I mean, giving you almost no offensive production out of some of those key guys. It was more because I have doubts about New York. Like, who are you going to get it from consistently every night? You could pencil in a certain number. Nobody, not even Brunson. And look, Brunson played better. He shot better. He had obviously a bigger impact on the game, but he's shooting a lot, man. He's a high volume usage, dribbling the ball a ton, taking a ton of shots. And I'm just going, okay, well, then look at the rest of the roster. How do you know where it's going to come from the Knicks? So I felt very confident that the Sixers, Maxey would be great. I thought Embiid would be good enough. And then I thought somebody has to start making shots out of the rest of this group. And, of course, they got some offense out of Oubre. And I thought Campaign gave him a huge lift.
Yeah, he gave him a great spark too. He's got a little swag, and
Yes.
listen, he in Phoenix, he was in postseason, right? He's another ball handler. I know you're small, but I'd much rather have Campaign in there than anybody. I feel confident with him.
Well, listen, he's obviously he carries himself. He's got tremendous confidence, right? He's fearless. He's not going to be fazed by it. Phoenix, Milwaukee, he's been in spots, man. He's been with teams where there's expectations. So he's not going to be afraid of that. And he's not, now you don't know if a guy has barely played in a series, is he going to be able to make shots ultimately? Because, it's still got to go in.
Sure.
He gave them a huge spark because, Tobias is still obviously, struggling offensively. Batum is a guy, anything you get really out of Batum is going to be a bonus. I know he had the big play-in game, but that's a one-off type of night for him now. He has other things that he does, he brings to the table that you value more. Oubre hadn't been there. And then the guy that I think a lot of people are surprised about his ineffectiveness is Buddy Hield. He just has been completely taken out of this. And he doesn't look comfortable handling the ball. They're not giving him any space. When he's on the floor, they're going face-to-face. So Nick Nurse put him in there for 4 minutes. He was 0 for 2, didn't look particularly comfortable, and he decided, we're going to go in a different direction. And you put a guy in that ran right to the light. It's like, yeah, let's go, man. I get any space, I'm going to let it fly. And those 11 points, I believe he had, right? 11?
Yeah.
Yeah, those 11 points, you honestly can't overstate how important it was to get some kind of supplemental offense from other guys. So look, the role players stepped up enough. But obviously this game was about Embiid, right? The greatness of Embiid and the display that he put on, it's kind of mind-blowing. His shooting ability. It really is, man. A guy that size, the shots he was making from deep. There
was a couple in guys' faces, shooting over him. He looked like Kevin Durant.
Yeah, he took one of those threes at the top of the key. When he caught the ball, there was literally, I don't remember if it was Brunson or who the defender was. Might have been Hartenstein. Whoever it was, they were literally practically chest to chest with him when he caught it. So most guys aren't even going to think about rising up, but he had a size advantage and he was feeling it at that point, and he went up and drained it. And so he was obviously incredible. He still doesn't have the ability to go in and really put his back on you and dominate you down there. He did the first possession of the game, but he doesn't spend a lot of time in the paint offensively. He just doesn't have, I think, the lift or the confidence in the leg to play in that kind of traffic, man. I think he's worried about it, man. You can even see he's not jumping above the rim on his finishes. He's really playing a grounded game because I think he's cautious about how he lands, who he lands near. He doesn't want to risk anything. So to play a game where you kind of had certain aspects of your game taken away from you that you just can't do these things and still put up 50 against a physical defensive team, it's one of the best playoff performances that the Philadelphia 76ers have ever had.
Yeah, and you look at it, clearly no explosion, and you see it with rebounding. I thought last night, even hearing all the stuff about the rebounds, that he would make a more conscious effort because he's kind of, Wilt-esque in that way. He hears stuff and he'd go after it, but he just has he's very little explosion with his legs.
No, it's a testament. This whole thing, what you're watching, is a testament to his skill level. I've said for a long time about him, it sort of defies what I know about biomechanics and just physics to be that big, that strong, hands that big, to shoot the way he does and have that kind of touch. This is one of the best jump shooters in the NBA, and he's 7'1", 280. It defies all logic, everything you know about what big guys look like, because he's at one point, when he was winning the MVP and even before leading up to that, there's times he's on the court and I say, this is the closest thing this league has seen to Shaq when he goes down there. He's unstoppable, immovable force with that kind of power and strength. But the fact that you could say, okay, that's kind of not going to be in your repertoire right now because you just don't have the confidence to have the lift down there to get off something quality. You don't want to land around other people. I totally get that. As a guy that went through 2 ACL reconstructions and 6 scopes, I know what that feels like, landing. You're worried about where you land. There's another component to it too, I think. You think about it. If he's playing below the foul line or below the restricted area, down in that area of the court on the block, front of the rim, going to the offensive glass, I got news for you, man. that's going to be an impossible order for him to get to the other end of the floor defensively. And that's part of this. That's a shorter run. And right now, a dead sprint, 90 feet to get back to the rim. If a team's got a transition opportunity and you could get back there and maybe affect the secondary break at the rim, that's a long run. And guess what? If he makes that run, what he's putting his body through, he's not making it back down the other end of the floor when you guys get the ball. So I think that plays into it. And it's actually smart because it's conserving his ability to get to the other end of the floor, to be somewhat of a paint deterrent. And if he's down below inside 10 feet, that's going to be a really difficult thing for him to do, to sprint to the other end of the floor to help them.
It's such a great point, and it's overlooked. People automatically, well, how come you're not going in the post? How come you're not going deep into the post? And you're right. Like, getting back up and back on that leg, and with his size and wind right now, is a chore. And that's going to just sap all your energy.
Completely. And I think it's smart on his part. I mean, it's risky, because if he does have an off shooting night and you're not getting the normal 14 points a game in the paint that he normally gets on average in a regular season game, and for whatever reason on a given night, he's not shooting well, because it happens to guys, it's going to be very difficult to win. So right now, he's making the ball go in the basket regardless. And so let's ride it. And let's see what happens here in Game 4. It's going to be really interesting what the Knicks do now going into Game 4, that he has done this to them, because you can't sit back and allow one guy to destroy you to that extent. So the Knicks are going to do something differently with Joel Embiid in Game 4.
So let me ask you real quick, because off of the supporting cast of the Sixers, buddy of mine, Tony, the ref, in fact, he's a big high school, college basketball referee, because I was down there last night, and I'm watching Buddy Hield all 4 minutes. And he said he's petrified. And
yeah.
What is that? Like, you got a veteran. Like, Buddy Hield's been in, the championship games in college, or, Final Fours against Villanova, the whole thing. And he comes in and he's wide-eyed. And even Tobias, to some extent, looks again wide-eyed. How does that happen?
I don't know. The Buddy Hield thing, I'm going to be honest with you, man. With Tobias, there's such a track record of it. This is now what you come to expect, right? If the ball goes in the basket, it's like a sigh of relief if he's making shots. Buddy Hield is very surprising to me, because when they acquired Buddy Hield, you made a great point. Listen, the guy played on the biggest stage. He was the National Player of the Year, Anthony. He was the Player of the Year every single night. He was in crazy environments, man. Everything geared to stop him. I know it's not the NBA, but you would think guys that play on that level with that level of importance, right, that you're not going to see any situation that phases you. Now, listen, Buddy Hield doesn't have playoff experience, man. So this is a different animal. This is a Northeast Corridor rivalry. This is an alley fight. This is war. Okay. And Buddy Hield, when he came into Philly, I thought this is a perfect complementary player when they get Embiid back. Remember, he came in, Embiid was out. They didn't really play together much. So I was really waiting to see what this looked like when Embiid came back, because I thought, man, Hield's going to get great looks with Embiid on the floor, like better looks than he had, and the better looks than he was getting in Indiana even when he was playing well. And it comes down to this. This situation clearly is overwhelming to him, because forget last night. Game 2 is the one I'm looking at. He played 14 minutes. He took 1 shot or 2 shots in that game. There were a couple times he ended up with the ball and he had to handle the ball for a second. And it was unbelievable. One time he caught the ball right over half court on the left wing, and they pressured up on him. I don't even remember who was guard. And he literally just started dribbling, and he dribbled. It looked like a kid at my camp. Yeah. Like he dribbled from the left side of the court all the way over to the right sideline, and just here, somebody please take this basketball. And I was kind of like, wow, man, he's that uncomfortable with ball pressure, handling the ball, and to forget getting open. So here's the thing. You could take him out if you want. If he's not going to move a lot, and their offense isn't predicated that way. Indiana has more weak side slashes, ball reversals. It's a different offense than what Philly runs, built around Embiid and Maxey. So you're going to spend a lot of time spotting up. And all you got to do if you're the Knicks, say, okay, he's not going to be part of this series. You're staying home with him, no help responsibility, chest to chest. They're not running down screens for him. He's not going to run ball screen. He's not going to do anything to create offense for himself. He's not getting clean looks. Pretty easy to do that to a player if you make up your mind to do it. He had a clean corner look last night, if you remember, his first shot. It was one of the most important shots of the series.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, because I just know if that ball goes in, he's going to feel different. He's going to feel different, man, because they're like, oh, okay, at least it's not a goose egg, right? One went in. Now you're going to feel it. Your confidence level goes up. Who knows, man? Maybe the guy makes 3 or 4 threes last night. But and Nick Nurse leaves him in. Instead, he missed it. You could see it on his face. It was like the end of the world. He's pressing. He wanted that ball to go in so badly. And Nick Nurse sees what we see, and he's like, I got to go in a different direction, man. I need a spark from somebody. And Campaign got those minutes, and Campaign took advantage of it.
So let me ask you a strategic question. Like, when you look at the Sixers and how you're going to play Brunson, right? Do you allow him to get his, and you really focus on the role players, right? And being more straight up and making sure that Josh Hart isn't open to bang those big dagger threes and those momentum changing threes. Same thing with DiVincenzo. And you go, you know what? Listen, you want to go for 50, Jalen? Go ahead. Because I'm not letting the role players and the energy, because they're energy monsters. When those guys are bagging those threes and getting those second chances, it fuels the Knicks. I'd rather Jalen go get 50 on me, and I'm taking out the other guys.
I think it's the way to play this team. It's the way I would play the team if I was coaching against them. He's taking 28 shots a game. He took 21 in the regular season. I mean, if you want Jalen, you want to shoot 28, 30 times, go ahead, man. Go ahead. You're a smaller type guard, and no one else is getting it. No one else is getting involved in those possessions. Be my guest, because we're not going to give up clean looks to the, I would actually even live with Josh Hart to a certain extent, man. He has to cool off. He's a 31% for the year 3-point shooter. All right. So you're going to live, you can't take it all away. I'm going to live with that, because that percentage wise, my best bet is Josh Hart taking open looks. Anunoby is going to do certain things. He's going to be in that 15, 16, 18 probably point, because he can take you off the dribble. He's fit, big, and physical too. And he can get to the rim and finish. He's going to do certain things. So who does that leave left that you're trying to limit clean looks? Clearly, DiVincenzo is the guy at the top of the list. I think you also got to make sure you're paying attention to McBride. Yeah. McBride is one of those guys that can string together some clean looks. Those are the guys I think that you want to take out. And if Brunson wants to shoot the ball 30 times a game in this series, Anthony, I think the Sixers have a great chance. I really do.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, just take away the kicks, right? Let him drive, all right? Because the bottom line is he's not beating you by himself. He can't beat you by himself. But the only way the Knicks win this is if they go crazy. Look, the game's 1 and game 2. The Sixers should have won game 2. Hart went nuts. So he goes bananas in those 2 games, and they're close games, and the Sixers are winning, right? So you just got to worry about the DiVincenzos and worry about those big energy monsters that kind of suck you in.
Hey, Anthony, go back in the history of this league and look at the number of teams that have had their highest volume shot taker be 6'2" and under. Okay. And look at the track record. I'm not saying those guys have never won series, or in Allen Iverson's case, won a damn MVP, took a team to the finals. I get it.
Yeah, but that was 1 year.
Right.
As great as he was,
and
1 year. They go to the finals, nothing else.
That's my point. And go back and look at all the other list of guys. Like, yeah, they win some series sometimes, like Lillard in Portland. Okay, yeah, he had a little bit of playoff success. But when you got a guy that size taking all those shots all the time, it's just hard for those guys to be efficient night in and night out. It's just really hard way to operate offensively. And so you just look traditionally, you've had guys that are like your lead ball handler, that are your primary decision maker, but they're much bigger. They're much bigger guys. And technically LeBron James to me is a point guard. The dude is 6'8", 260. He's getting downhill. And he's also, by the way, one of the best passers the league's ever seen. Jokic basically plays point for Denver. He is 7 feet tall. and he's got incredible passing ability and strength and size. Luka is 6'8". Luka is a guy that I think eventually is going to get there and do that, taking a lot of shots at that spot because they're so big and strong. The shots they get are so good, and then they can pick you apart with their passing. Smaller guards, which Jalen Brunson is in that category, 6'2" and under, that regardless of how strong he is and how well built he is and all that, doesn't matter. It's a smaller guard. It is hard to be consistently efficient night in, night out, to do it. 4 wins in one round, 4 wins in the second round, 4 in the third. Like, it's just hard to keep playing that way. So force him to be a 25 to 30 field goal attempt guy. By the way, if he's taking 25 or 30 in the FGA column, when you add in 10 free throws, that's another 5 attempts he was trying to get. So you're really talking about, and Charles Barkley said it last night, and I thought it's a good point, because I always think that. We were just talking about a guy takes 28 shots. Well, 28 shots. No, he didn't. He took 14 free throws. That dude took 35 shots. Like, that's what we're talking about. And Brunson's kind of that way. You have to live with it. If he's making tough shots, go ahead, man. Have as many as you want. We cannot allow these other guys to have these splashy runs that augment that. And that would be my strategy on Jalen Brunson, man. As great as he is, and nobody has more respect for him than what he's done than me. I just think that's the way to play this team. It's a hard road when your guy is 6'2" and under, taking 30 shots a game. That's a really difficult road to try to navigate multiple wins in a series.
How do you? What's your vibe? You have a great vibe on series. You think Sixers tie it up, and then they tie it up. They have all the momentum in the world now.
Sixers win game 4. Look, this could be, Anthony. Unfortunately, this could be one of those series, man, where every home team wins the first 6.
Wow.
Wouldn't shock me, man.
Yeah.
Wouldn't shock
Yeah.
me. You know, the Knicks are a tough group. They get energized in the Garden, right? And I think that stage was a little bit much for I know they were in both games, but that stage was a little bit much for a couple guys. And I don't know what it's going to be like. You go back there 2-2 for a game 5, what that environment's going to be. So you wouldn't be shocked. Okay, Knicks win that one. Come back to Philly. Philly holds home court. They get entered. And now you got a game 7 on the road, man, of these two teams, which would be an absolute war. And look, this is getting ahead of myself because the Sixers have to win the 4th game first. Here's what I'm encouraged about. I said weeks ago, if Embiid comes back and plays and he gets enough games under his belt, that's the biggest threat to the Celtics in the Eastern Conference. That team's going to the conference finals. If they can stay out of Boston's bracket, they did that. So that's how I felt. And then he gets dinged up at the end of the year. And then we needed to see him, and we saw him. And I said when I saw him in that Miami game, I said, man, oh man, oh man, I don't see how to beat the Knicks if he looks like this. So here we go. Going into the series, I had picked the Sixers to win it before I saw him that night. And then I said, I don't see how to win a series. I said, the Knicks are going to win a series. Well, guess what, man? He's still operating at a highly effective rate, despite the fact that he's at 70% probably physically. So that's where I'm at on this. I'm sorry. Everybody wants to know who's going to. It depends on him.
Yeah.
That's simple. It's that simple. And he don't have to get a 50 spot. But if he's efficiently getting north of 30 to 40, efficiently getting to the line, as many times as he did, if he's doing those things, regardless of the rebounding numbers, regardless of the paint deterrence, that's not quite the same as it usually is. Doesn't matter. If he's doing that offensively, he's controlling the series. And if that's the case, the Sixers are going to win this series, whatever number of games that is. But I think for me, it's a game-to-game thing because that wheel is like, it's missing a lug nut. All right. So you're going to watch that wheel. One of those lug nuts came off. A couple other ones are loose. So, we're looking at this thing saying, is that tire going to stay on there? And to me, that's a night-to-night
What a
proposition.
great analogy. That's just a fabulous analogy. Hey, real quick while I got you, any other series that you see as surprise? Obviously, Boston falls asleep in game 2. The Milwaukee, Indiana is interesting because of the flip-flop and what happened there. Orlando, you expected to win yesterday. You love with Minnesota's matchup against Phoenix. Any other series that you go, watch this one, there could be something brewing?
Let me give you a quick synopsis, man. I'll run through each because it doesn't have to take long. Let me give you a quick. So Boston, Miami, here's what happened in game 2. First of all, what you watched that night, there's 3,300 playoff games have been played since they put the 3-point line in roughly. Only 3 times in the history of this league have teams made more threes than the Heat did. So my point is that's a one-off anomaly type game with that level shooting. But I will say this, Boston has a tendency to do this, man. They raise vulnerability issues where you look at them and go, this is the most scrutinized 64-win team in the history of this league. Every time they have one of those nights, we all go, I don't know, man. And so what I said on the air is this: you want to let people know who you are. You want to mark your territory, lift your leg. Okay. To use another analogy, I got 3 dogs. You want to lift your leg on something? You go down to Miami and you win game 3 and you flip the script immediately. Don't go down 2-1. If you go down 2-1, this is going to be a 7-game series. So that's where I look at Boston. This is a statement, absolute statement game for them to go down to Miami, right the ship, guard the 3-point line better. Don't play so much heavy ISO that they did in game 2. Get back to your style. I think order will be restored. We talked about New York, Philly, Milwaukee, Indiana. I picked the Pacers to win the series before the series. We don't know when Giannis is coming back. When's he injecting himself into this? The style of the Pacers is a significant problem for Milwaukee. Think about this. It's 1-1, and Lillard has gone ballistic, played at a higher level than at any time this season for the Bucks. He cannot keep that up. The Pacers are going to adjust to him. If Giannis doesn't play, I think Indiana wins both games in Indiana. And you put Milwaukee on the brink of elimination. I really like the Pacers' style. Siakam's playing out of his mind. Halliburton is due for a big game, and it's going to be tonight. Halliburton's going to go for like 25+ tonight. Cleveland, Orlando, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not super interested in that series. All right. Just going to be honest. There's been 3 blowouts. I don't know what the hell's going to happen in that series.
Yeah.
Thunder, Pelicans, that's Oklahoma City put on a masterpiece the other night. New Orleans without Zion, they just don't have enough. Oklahoma City's starters, that's the second connection amongst 5 guys besides Denver in the entire NBA. Denver, LA, that pretty much put them to bed last night. Minnesota, Phoenix, I think, listen, Phoenix has one opportunity to get back in the series tonight. They can win a game. Minnesota's physicality is too much for Phoenix. They're not mentally tough enough. They're not physically tough enough. They get defeated. They get demoralized. They're not guys that want to jump in a trench together and fight. They're just not made up that way. They don't believe. And when things go sideways in a game, shoulders drop, body language sucks. Minnesota's feasting on that. So they could win a game. They've got so much talent. I don't think they're winning that series. Minnesota's just owning them. They're turning that into a fight, a bar fight, and Phoenix doesn't want that.
Perfect.
Oh, Dallas Clippers, last one. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The single biggest game to this point in the NBA playoffs takes place tonight.
Yes.
It's 1-1. Now you get Dallas going home. To me, the winner of the game tonight probably wins the series. I picked Dallas to win the series. They don't go. They can't go down 2-1 by losing that first game at home. Although Luka in a game 7 on the road, if that's what we're going to take, I feel pretty good about that. He already showed you what he could do in a game 7 on the road against Phoenix a couple years ago when he beat them by 40, and he owned them and laughed at Devin Booker the whole way. Luka's capable of doing that. These 2 teams are legitimate threats to Denver. Legitimate threats. So whoever wins this series is a problem because they wouldn't see the Nuggets until the conference finals. So you got to survive a really tough first round matchup. Kawhi is going to get better each night as the series goes. So if you're Dallas, you need to get these wins earlier in the series while he's trying to find his rhythm.
That is an incredible summation of the NBA playoffs series by series with the one, the only Legs, the great Tim Legler. Love you, brother. Best to the family, all right? Go kiss that baby.
Same to you. Talk next week.
See you, pal.
Yep.
There he is. Leg day. Always love leg day. That is a summation of the series. Wow. How about this? We just have an embarrassment of incredible sports going on right now. And joining us, my man, from our All Eagles PHLY show, we love him, to take a look at day 2 of the draft. Zachariah, Zach Berman. Zachariah, what do you say, pal? What a night last night.
Hey, great to see you guys. Yeah, what a night, right? If you had told me yesterday morning that the Eagles would be on the clock at 22 with every cornerback in the draft available to them, I would not have believed it. If you had told me they were getting Quinyon Mitchell, I would have said, what pick are they attaching to that to trade up? So I think even though I expected them to go offensive line, that was a really good outcome for them last night.
Yeah, it was it worked out perfect. It was such a wild night, Zach. By the way, this portion of the program is brought to you by the Bet Park Sportsbook and Casino app. Download it today. Play along with us. Got to be 21 gambling. Probably call 1-800-GAMBLER. Zach, just the run on quarterbacks, right? Like the Bo Nix to the Broncos changes the draft. The all the offensive players. It was just wild. I mean, and the way it played out, the fact I never thought this would have happened, right? That you have your choice between the two best corners, whether you wanted Arnold or Mitchell. And look, Mitchell, I think, projects as the best pure cover corner. The fact that he's got great closing speed, that incredible stuff. I know Arnold was a converted safety, became the better cornerback over Kool-Aid at Alabama. Nick Saban said it last night that he had an eye for Mitchell, but Mitchell said, no, I'm staying in Toledo. They showed loyalty to me. So that choice seemed to be the perfect fit for them. Did you glean anything Mitchell versus Arnold last night for the Eagles?
Yeah, good question, because I specifically asked Howie Roseman that last night, because I don't want to compare it to Jalen Reagor, Justin Jefferson, where in that case there was one blatantly obvious one, but the comparison is that you had both guys on the board, so you had a choice to make, right? And Howie said, both good players, they had to take the one that makes sense for them. I think that the combination of size, speed stands out here, right? 6 foot, he ran that 4.33. Typically with the Eagles, as you know, they lean toward the big school guys, right? So you have the younger prospect from Alabama. That's why on the clock, I thought, all right, they would go Arnold here just because they would lean toward Alabama. And Howie Roseman said for them to take someone from the MAC at that spot, he needs to be special. And that's kind of the way they think about Mitchell. So I understand the competition part of it. He's also older, than Arnold, like I said. But when you have that 4.33 speed in a 6 foot, 190 plus pound package, two-time second team All-American. And the other point here, and this is what they really emphasized, and I said this on the show last night, he aced every checkpoint along the process, right? So you have the analysis from the film during the season, and then he goes to the Senior Bowl where, you want to see him against good competition, right? But you also want to see him play more press coverage because he didn't really do that much at Toledo. He was one of the best players at the Senior Bowl. Bo Wolf was there. Bo saw it with his own eyes. Then he goes to the Combine, and like I said, runs a 4.33. So every checkpoint along the way, he aces that. I think that gives them confidence in taking this smaller school player.
One of the scouts I was talking to said the only knock is putting his nose in the run game would be his only kind of weakness. What do you hear about that?
Yeah, that's a fair question. And, the way he was playing at Toledo is going to be, it's different than the way he's going to have to play for Vic Fangio. These aren't perfect cornerback prospects. This is the one thing I want to say here is even though they're getting the guy they thought was the top corner in the draft, it's not a typical corner draft. It's not like Surtain, or it's not like Stingley. It's not like Gardner, right? You're getting a guy at 22 by definition. 21 teams didn't want him there, right? Or had the better options. So I would caution the expectations of him being like a typical top corner in the draft. But I think he has the tools in him, and I hear the competitive toughness. When I talk to people, they mention that competitive toughness. So you would hope that translates to the run fits.
Were they elated? Like when truly elated? Like was it celebratory? Did you hear from people inside the war room?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was more they were proud of the process in the sense that they were able to stick at 22, keep both these second round picks today. I think that's what they were real pleased with, is that they got a player that they liked. When they all GMs say top guy on our board, right? But I think in this case that has validity. But the fact that they didn't have to attach another pick to go up and get him, because how he often has that urge. He's learned from experience from 2014 that sometimes when you wait, it doesn't work out for you. And they were able to wait, as you mentioned at the top of this, the 6 quarterbacks going. But in addition to the 6 quarterbacks going, the edge rushers going earlier, like Jared Verse being taken. I think that allowed them to kind of sit there and have options. And I was wondering when Troy Faltano was on the board, if they would try to jump Pittsburgh, but they saw what we all saw, that they were in a situation where they were able to get Faltano or either of the 2 corners, and I think they were happy with any of those outcomes.
All right, so let's talk about day 2. And I made the point earlier, which is exactly this. You didn't have to touch your coffers, right? Like having all those assets, having these 2 assets today, 50-53, is huge. Is there someone you think they'd like enough to package the 2 to move up today? There's a ton of value. There's a lot of good. You want to talk about offensive line prospects. Blake Fisher, who I like a lot, is there from Notre Dame. He's an interesting guy. I don't think Rosengarten kind of fits their kind of what they're looking for. He's the tackle out of Washington. Is there anybody that you think has their eye today?
Yeah, so from an offensive line perspective, if you want that long-term tackle, the Lane Johnson replacement, Kingsley Silmatea, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, from BYU. He's someone who I can certainly see on their radar. I'm with you. I really like Blake Fisher. Blake Fisher is someone who I think will be there when they take in the second round. But if they wanted the starting guard, if they wanted to plug that guard spot, Cooper Beebe from Kansas State is still on the board. There's a few other guys who you look at, like Jackson Powers Johnson. He has guard experience. There's a handful of guys there. When I look at what's left on the board, I think there's some real quality wide receivers, and they have that huge A.J. Brown deal yesterday. Good move by the Eagles to do that, but they can still add an explosive threat as the 3rd receiver in this offense. I've been talking about Troy Franklin throughout this pre-draft process. I was surprised A.D. Mitchell slipped. Ladd McConkey's a guy who has some hype to him. So I think there are good receivers on the board.
The kid from Western Kentucky, Malati, he's a player. He's a big-time playmaker.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, especially with yards after the catch. And then there's going to be linebackers there. I don't think the Eagles are going to push linebackers, but Edgerrin Cooper's on the board. Junior Colson's on the board. Peyton Wilson. I know there's a lot of people who, if you can get past the injuries, get past the age, a really good player. And then the one other thing I would mention is that Cooper DeJean's hanging out there, right? And in Cooper DeJean's case, the Eagles got their corner yesterday, but you kept hearing throughout the pre-draft process just the versatility that he can be a safety in the league. He can be a slot in the league. Yeah. If you're just saying let's collect good players, that's a really interesting name right there, because I think
then you'd have to move up, because I got to believe he's going to be an early pick today.
Oh, I agree with you. That's one where you move up for, but because they didn't trade yesterday, they do have the flexibility if they wanted to move up.
That would be fascinating. You walk away with DeJean and Mitchell. Wow. Like that would be and look, you and I talked about this before. Like their secondary has not been, like, they've been riddled by good quarterbacks. Really, even in the Super Bowl year, they gave up. The good quarterbacks had success down the field on them. So, I mean, look, if you're able to fix, and I agree with you with DeJean when it comes to safety. Like, if that's another spot that I'm looking at, Jaden Hicks I like too as a pure safety.
Yep. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely correct there. And they've really tried to solve their secondary in the past decade via free agency, via trade. If you're able to get young building blocks in that group, I think now that you're in day two, especially, you're not like what you're trying to do is you're trying to find good value. You're trying to find guys who are going to be here, not necessarily for this year, but these next few years. You have that foundation. The Eagles really haven't had a foundation in the secondary. So I'm not suggesting that safety is going to be a priority, but if there's a guy on the board, even though you took corner yesterday, don't hesitate to do it again if you think you can have foundation pieces back there.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Let's look at tomorrow and kind of like, because I know we're looking at rounds 2 and 3 today. Are there any guys that you like when you look at kind of how this thing projecting as a day 3 guy that we should keep our eye out on?
Yeah, I would pay attention to developmental pass rushers because the Eagles are set with their kind of top four this year. You know that with Bryce Huff, Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham, and Nolan Smith. But of that group, only Huff and Smith are under contract. So someone like J.L.X. Hunt, who he's from Houston Christian, was a safety at Cornell. Now, I know there's some steam that he could go day two, but he's a guy who year one might not be there, but year three with the athletic traits.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's someone if he's sticking around day four. In like round four or something of that nature. If they don't add guard today, a name I would watch is Zach Zinter. Zach Zinter was a standout guard at Michigan. Broke his leg in that Michigan-Ohio State game. Kept him out of the pre-draft process. If you're able to get the injury discount on him, I think he's a guy who can step in and contribute. The Eagles brought him in for a visit. They brought Hunt in for a visit. So those are kind of two names that I would watch for early day three.
Yeah, and Howie likes to shop down that aisle, the injury upside aisle.
It worked for them with Landon Dickerson. Landon Dickerson should have been a first-round pick. He obviously got hurt in the college football playoffs or the SEC championship rather, and then he's starting week 2, week 3 of his rookie season, and now he's a $20 million a year guard.
Yeah, I got to tell you, this is the best, man. We just love this thing. What's your schedule today, Zachariah?
Yeah, so we will be. I'll be on with Bo throughout the draft, just like last night's fun. We're doing the live viewing. Then I hop over to NovaCare, talk to Howie, talk to Nick. Quinyon Mitchell's in the building today. Going to try to get over there. We have our show at 7, so depending on when Quinyon gets there and that I-95 traffic to get to the studio, I will be able to speak to Mitchell in person. I had a piece that I filed at or that I posted at about 2:30 a.m. with some initial thoughts on Mitchell. Once I get off the call here, I'm going to put up something on allphly.com looking at some of their top options for today. So we're covered on the screen, on your podcast, and then also for the reading material on allphly.com.
I love it. I love it, man. You're killing it. Keep doing it. We love the draft. We love our coverage. Zach Berman killing it here at All Eagles PHLY. Thanks, brother. Have a great weekend. Enjoy this weekend, buddy.
Thank you. Talk soon.
There he is, Zachariah. I love it. All right. We're talking about Primo Hoagies. How about it? This is a great sports weekend. We talked about it last night. Sixers, draft, Phillies. I love the way it staggers with the Phillies on the West Coast. It's going to be another fun sports weekend. Draft today, tonight, tomorrow, Sunday at 1 o'clock. You have your Eagles, your Sixers, game 4. So, look, you know what you do with sports weekends. You don't want to clock. You don't mess around. Primo Hoagies. And the beauty of the Primos is you don't get tired. It's not like the same thing. So Primos has an array. It's like the draft, right? Maybe day 1, you want to do a traditional Italian. But day 2, you're looking at a little chicken whacked. And maybe day 3, a little meatball parm. It's right there for you, man. It's the great Primo Hoagies. Made on that incredible seeded roll, baked fresh in store every couple hours. And that original, no shrinkflation there, baby. At the original, just like 1992 when Primo's opened on Rittner Street, it's the same taste across the Delaware Valley, over 90 locations, and now also going nationwide. So you can get your Primos all over the country. Check out PrimoHoagies.com, the party trays for the weekend. You got gatherings. It's the greatest. You'll say what I always say. It's not just a hoagie. It's a Primo. All right, JP. What's our next one that we're talking about?
We're going to talk a little bit about some True Mark here, cuz.
Yes, let's do it.
Let's do a little True Mark talking here, ladies and gentlemen, because they are one of our sponsors here today. You'll be asking to yourself, what is True Mark exactly? Well, they are a credit union. They are better than a bank. And when you join a credit union like True Mark, you become a part owner, which means profits come right back to you instead of going to the stakeholders. That's the best part. They have better rates, lower fees, a better return, on savings and more flexible options with all the same digital tools and technology to make your lives easier. And TrueMark has local roots. They're headquartered right here in Fort Washington with 24 branches here in the Philadelphia area. They serve our community and our people right here at home. Becoming a member of a credit union has so many benefits over becoming a customer at a bank. It's absolutely a no-brainer here, ladies and gentlemen. So what are you waiting for? Head on over to truemark.com/PHLY to learn more or to find a branch near you. That's truemark.com/PHLY. They're federally insured by the NCUA. And thank you to our dear local friends at TrueMark.
Well, yeah, and TrueMark, by the way, gave us the big story of the day.
Yeah.
Right, that's right, with Zach Berman and, of course, the Eagles draft Quinyon Mitchell. That was your big story. Brought to you by TrueMark, truemark.com/PHLY. So make sure you check out the credit union difference. We'll come back. Clubhouse is coming up and TV Todd as well. We have the Friday 5. Looks like we're going OT. All right. The beauty I love about this new format is we can go as long as we want, relatively speaking. So we're going past 11 a.m. this morning. That's for sure. Stay right here as the Anthony Gargano Show continues on the All PHLY and All City Network.
With the pick, the 22nd pick, the Eagles, yes! Selecting Micah Parsons' favorite player for the second straight year, cornerback out of Toledo, Quinyon Mitchell. Oh, man. Hold on. Let me pull up my stats and all my notes. We'll do the video and then we'll check in on him. Quinyon Mitchell out of Toledo, a 4.33 40. Holy moly, is this guy fast. He had 6 interceptions. 2 of them he took back for touchdowns. Quote, an elite cover man that dominated the Senior Bowl and blazed the combine. Wow, he squatted 555 pounds and in practice ran 23.6 miles an hour. You know what? Before we get to the video, Micah, how you feeling?
I mean, I'm honestly utterly disgusted on how lucky the Eagles are. It's just like Chris, I do not know how he fell that far with this run of offensive tackles and quarterbacks. That's the only thing that makes sense. I thought he was a top 15, top 12 talent, and he just fell right into their laps.
And he was your favorite player?
He was definitely one of my more favorite players in this draft. Like I said, he rose in every bar. He hit he checked every box. And like I said, we don't know what Darius, and the mentors, he has one of the best quarterbacks to play the game, Darius Slade, to mentor him. They still got Elias Ricks, who stepped over big time last year.
Yes, he did.
They got James Bradbury, a guy who may not have the big year he wanted, like the year he had before, his all-pro year, but he's still a good quality player, and you just add him. And he can play inside or out. I think this is a great pick. I mean, I think this is a terrific pick, man.
Hello, Philadelphia. I'm Bruce.
All right. Hello, Bruce.
Yeah, Bruce.
We're not starting over, Bruce. We're back, and it's time for the Clubhouse. Here we are. JP, John Zapata, VG.
What's up?
Violations, Greg Caputo, as we hang out here. Coming up in just a moment, we'll talk to TV Todd to give us his picks for the weekend because, we're busy with the draft and everything else, so we need some date night stuff. So TV Todd will help us up with something to watch with our significant others. So, VG, give me some nuggies. First of all, I have the Friday 5 too, but you always have the VG nuggets.
You want to go to back in the day now or do a back in the day moment?
Go ahead, do a back in the day moment. That, of course, is brought to you by Rite Aid. Check out RiteAid.com for all of your allergy relief.
This goes back to one of the Eagles' all-time draft picks, John Harris. Way back, I forget the year they picked him, but Ray Rhodes came out the day they picked him and said he reminded him of the next Ed Too Tall Jones. Ed Too Tall Jones played 16 years, and I think he had 103 sacks, and John Harris had 2 sacks in 2 seasons.
Oh, man.
Well, long way from John Harris. Quinyon Mitchell, gotta love that. We love that pick.
Oh, man.
We're excited, right?
Oh, yeah, I'm down. I mean, I'm not even a Howie guy. I love it.
Yeah. No, VG's doesn't like Howie, so
he couldn't mess it all. Well, we'll see. There's never a pick, it feels like, without a little drama around this club right now. So you get I know it's not a lot of drama, but you find out that Nick is boys with the Toledo guys, the coaches. And Nick has influence in this pick. And is it, can you be objective? And then after that.
Wait, stop.
Come on.
Just say thank you.
And then after that.
Just say, hey, Howie, thank you.
You get the Lions just drooling, jump up, and they grab Terry on, and you're wondering, is this another Jalen Reagor, Justin Jefferson moment?
Dude, no, come on. I mean, listen, I've talked to a million scouts during this period. They love Mitchell.
Yeah, I agree.
They love Mitchell.
Yeah,
it's not like, it's.
They also love Terry on.
Okay, but listen, there's a lot of people that tell you that you go Mitchell as a pure closer of a corner who actually fits the Fangio defense. I'm not saying Arnold's not going to be good. I'm just saying that I've talked to scouts that out of Philadelphia that love Mitchell.
Yeah. I'm not saying he's not going to be a great player. I'm not saying I hate the pick. I'm just saying there's a little bit of drama with it.
He wasn't drama. Well, he's creative. He's stirring it.
I love
VG.
I love VJ.
VG stirring the pot. All right. You got a lot of witch's brew that you stir because of your significant other.
She's been a little. She's not doing the witching this week and this month. She's got a lot of work, so she's not been brewing it up.
All right, no brew.
Unfortunately.
What nuggies we have? He's a papers guy too.
His paper looks like the Sixers, right? With the red and blue.
Show the audience your papers. Red and blue everywhere.
Yeah, we need those. And stuff, yeah. This is just a demo. This is just a shell of a laptop. It's not even real.
Ding ding.
Yeah. Let's get to some quotes, man, huh? Should we do that?
Let's get some quotes.
Where are they at? Here we go.
All right. What is going on in the chat? How's the chat been this morning?
It's good, man. There is a lot of Sixers chat, but I tried to pull a little bit of everything. People love if the Giants had a brain, they would build an O-line. I like that.
That's very good.
Yeah.
That's an excellent quote. If the Giants had a brain, they'd take a quarterback.
Dev Miliano, Penix, old AF, Danny Watkins vibes.
Oh,
I disagree. I like
He's like 27, ain't he?
He's 25. 20, going to be 25.
Habib 215. Atlanta fumbled the whole draft. They thought Brad sounded like a Knicks fan today.
He looks at it the way he always does. He's making a living.
Presidential Mike. Knicks fans are fake tough.
By the way, we need to figure out a way, because JP, you brought this up to me this morning. They were very boisterous in the lower level of Wells Fargo.
Listen, I have an issue with people selling their tickets randomly on the open market and allowing this to happen. There's got to be a better way for this to happen. If you want to unload your tickets, you have friends on Facebook, Twitter. You can do word of mouth. You don't have to throw it out on the national site so any cretin from New York can buy these tickets.
I'm not a big Facebook guy, but I am part of a group on Facebook where they will sell union tickets, so they don't have away fans in there. That needs something like that. Definitely needs to happen. And look, I hate being like this because I understand this is a business at the end of the day, right? But I remember going back to those process years and seeing those fans that would show up to those games just to watch Tony Roten, play basketball. And all those fans got outpriced. They can't afford those season tickets anymore. So now you got these guys with big money, just looking at it as an investment, which I get. Again, it's a business. But we shouldn't be having Knicks fans out in row 5, cheering on Josh.
They were atrocious last night. Oh. I did see a good tweet. Someone last night said people in the parking lot were yelling to Knicks fans, "Go back to Fishtown."
Yeah, that's where I live. Come on now.
You got to admit, a lot of infiltration going on.
There is. Right? I will say
a lot
that.
of infiltration.
Was there tailgating
They all
going
came
on?
down. They saw real estate. They want to just descend it on our area because they have all the coin.
Oh, yeah.
Very
it's
true.
It's going to go to a third world country with the money they have up in New York.
So
coming
it's
down
funny.
Here.
And they'll go, so my old editor, I wrote a piece in the New York Post prior to the series, right?
Yes,
so
great piece.
My old editor, Greg Gallo, I love the guy. He's the first time I was working for the Associated Press in Chicago, small newspaper, and he kind of gave me this chance, right? Mm-hmm. And I was 24 years old. And he's like, it's good to see you back in the big time. That you're out of that AAA city you call your hometown.
No, he did not.
Oh, yeah. It was funny. Yeah, when I told him I was going to the Inquiry, he's like, "What? Like you're leaving New York City to go to Philadelphia? Like this?"
Of course I am.
It was funny. It was hysterical. All right.
Some grades out. I got USA Today with the Eagles draft last night. A, NFL, A, Yahoo, A+.
A+ for Yahoo.
Let's go.
All right.
Love it.
I love it. All right. We're going to do our man TV Todd. Then we're going to come back and do our Friday Five. So a good bit of overtime, healthy overtime this morning.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go to our man TV Todd. We have our opening?
Act like a man. You can't handle the truth.
It's time for TV time.
Here it is. And I love your Flyers mug. That's a great orange mug.
Let's go. Oh,
this
boy.
guy.
I love that opening. That intro is amazing.
Yeah, VG did the opening. Fantastic. It was perfect. Great vibe to it.
I love that. I may have to put that on my outgoing voicemail message.
Yes.
You can act like a man.
You got Sixers and Eagles going nuts right now, and he's flashing the
He
Flyers logo in the
Todd
street.
is a Flyer first man,
He's even
right?
got
Did you
orange
say
and
that?
the
Is
black.
that fair to
The
say?
orange and the
You're
black.
an FF?
100% Flyers first, but you know I'm a 444 guy, right? And listen, I was nervous yesterday thinking, man, if this day goes off the rails, it's going to be tough for me to be on the show tomorrow.
No, and it turned out to be one of the great days ever, right? Like you start off in the afternoon with Wheeler, right? Solidifying himself as among the best starting pitchers in all of baseball. And then, of course, the draft and Embiid 50. It's a great night.
Oh man, I can't wait to get down to the Wells on Sunday. That's going to be great.
Oh, TV Todd attending Sunday.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's huge.
How could you not go to that? Game 4, Sunday afternoon, ABC. Let's go.
Yeah. It reminds me of the old school. I love the old school Sunday afternoon, May playoff, right? Like, it's like, wow. And it's Sixers, Knicks, Philadelphia, New York, ABC. It's got the good vibes to it.
I love it, man. Yeah, I'm excited about it.
So what do you got? Now, we have a great weekend where we're nerding out with the draft, with all the NBA and NHL playoffs. We need some time with our significant other. All right. So what are we watching?
Yeah, so let's just quickly continue where we left off last week, because VG and I, we continued our conversation on Twitter X about the show Baby Reindeer. You know, I had not watched it, but it has now been the #1 show on Netflix for a few weeks here. And I watched it, I really enjoyed it, and I recommended it to a lot of people, my wife, my parents, like everybody seems to really love it. So it's still out there on Netflix. It is a true story. I mean, a little bit of fictionalizing, but it's a true story. The lead actor in the show, this really happened to him. It's about a stalker. It really happened to him in real life. He's the lead actor, writer, creator. It's based on his one-man play that he did about this stalker, and I definitely recommend it. I think VG liked it too.
Dude, loved it. It's heavy. It gets heavy and dark, but yeah, I loved it. It's one of the best things I've watched lately.
Definitely gets heavy and dark. So I think that's still out there for your audience. A couple things I'm pretty excited about. There's a series on Prime called Them, 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 and it is it's an anthology series. There was a season about a year or so ago about this family who moves from North Carolina to it's back in the 50s, and they're an African-American black family, and they move to like a white neighborhood, and there's all kinds of like spiritual stuff that happens, horror, and it's, listen, it's one of those shows that they put into this category called elevated horror, which is like, horror with some cultural component, or, I don't know. To me, it's just a great show at the end of the day. And the new season that they're doing, is called It's Them, and it's called The Scare, and it takes place right after the Rodney King tape is released back in the 90s, and it's sort of loosely around this detective who is investigating the murder of someone in a foster home. So, but I'm excited for this show to be back because I thought it was really
is
well
this
done.
kind of like a American Horror Story where it's one season with a new storyline each time?
It is. I would say it's like if you're looking for like a comparison, it's a new story each season, and it's very Jordan Peele like. To me, it's like if you like Jordan Peele stuff, you'll really like them. So I'm excited to see season 2 of that, and I like to bring shows on this show to the attention of your audience that don't really get tons of press, but I think that's a really good one. The other one I got to bring up is because Philadelphia is Franklin on Apple TV. So Michael Douglas, Wall Street Michael Douglas, is playing Benjamin Franklin. Now I know that sounds, when you hear that, you're probably laughing a little bit about that.
Sounds ridiculous.
They're laughing.
I saw him on CBS Sunday morning.
It's funny. Right off the bat, Andrew, our producer, VG, JP, they're cracking up laughing. What's the matter with what? Gordon Gekko can't play Ben Franklin?
And listen, that's why I brought it up, because that is the initial reaction, right? But let us not forget that Michael Douglas is a phenomenal actor. And I'm telling you, within 2 episodes of this show, you're buying him completely as Ben Franklin. So it's
take that, VG.
What's in that cup? Bourbon?
Well, listen to the storyline, though. Listen to the story.
It's good, Ben Franklin said.
Listen to the storyline, though. It's great. It's based on a book, and it takes place in 1776. Benjamin Franklin is sort of known throughout the world as, doing these electric experiments, and he's sent to go to France to enlist their help in the American Revolutionary War. It's actually really interesting.
Is there a Philadelphia component?
Well, no, only that it's mentioned a few times because when the show starts, he's like on his way to France.
Okay.
So it's mentioned. But what's cool about it is they cover the celebrity of him. The fact that when Ben Franklin goes to France and other countries, he's like a major celebrity. The paparazzi is out because
that sounds interesting. I'm in on that. I would watch that. You would watch that, VG?
I mean, I'll give it a shot. I do like Michael Douglas. Is he a philanderer? Do they have Ben Franklin as like a party philanderer guy?
There's a little. It's getting into that where I am right now. It's a little. Right. There's a little bit of that for sure.
Nice.
That sounds good. I'm in. Andrew shaking his head. I like it, Todd.
I'll check it out.
Period pieces are tough to pull off.
I love period pieces.
Yeah, I'm not a big period guy.
You don't like the period? Gangs in New York and all the million.
I love that movie. Gangs in New York is fantastic.
I don't like period movies.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be an artist.
I am.
You don't like period films?
Not really.
Wow. Yeah, I'm completely out on you.
I thought you liked. Wait a minute. I thought you liked Ripley. We were talking about that for a long time.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet. Anthony loved it. I haven't seen that yet.
Okay. All right. Well, let me.
It's amazing. He's got great taste, VG. Got great taste, but that's a big hole.
I mean, it's got to be well done. Kubrick, sure. I love a Kubrick period piece, but in general, I think they stink.
You think you're not interested in that period of time, or you just
like
don't
I didn't
believe...
watch was it the John Adams?
Right.
I didn't watch that either.
So you're anti.
that was great.
You're anti-revolutionary.
Yeah, I'm not a big revolution guy. I guess. Yeah, I like peace. I'm a pacifist.
Yeah, but VG, knowing your sensibility and the question you asked me about Michael Douglas, you got to watch the Adams series with Paul Giamatti. It's amazing.
I do like Paul.
Yeah, dude. Well, but by the way, pacifist, then you must like tyranny because the British had you in tyranny.
That's culture. It's not tyranny. They were cultured back then.
Come on, bro. I can't believe I'm shocked, VG, out on the period piece.
Let me cleanse your palate here. Let me give you two two fun things to watch, right?
Okay.
There's a reality series. I'll give you two Hulu
I'm out
shows.
on reality.
I think,
There you go, VJ.
no,
Yeah.
no. You may, I don't know. You may like this one, cuz. So this is a series produced by Jimmy Kimmel, and it's a reality series about a medical marijuana dispensary in LA. It's pretty good, actually. It's pretty good. It gets you into the business. You get a little bit behind the scenes of the business. They're trying to expand into.
So it's more of a docu-series than reality series.
Yeah, but it feels very reality series, very similar to like LA Inc. or some of those series that are based on business. So anyway, it's called High Hopes, and it's a short 6-episode series on Hulu that again Jimmy Kimmel produced. I thought it was fun series.
Okay.
Okay, let me give you one more.
World.
Let me give you one more.
You know, real quick, those dispensaries are like the happiest place on earth. Like everybody's nice.
Sure.
Right? Like, it's amazing. Like, hi.
Literally.
Yeah.
Well,
How can I help you?
not only are they nice, but if you've ever been in one, and I'm not saying you've ever been in one, but if you've ever been in one, you'll know some of them are like Apple stores. They're beautiful in there.
Oh my God. So listen, I listen, I'm always about full disclosure, right? Like I don't care. I mean, it doesn't matter. There is a strain called Genius, all right? And it helps you focus. So I'm like, let me try it out. You know,
my man.
Let me see what it's about. So I was writing our Todd and I's project. So I was writing the project, and it worked. It does. It helps you just lock in focus wise. So I go to get it at a place in Jersey, and the people were like, first of all, it was unbelievable. Like I thought I was like, oh wow, this is awesome, man. Like besides the demeanor of everybody, after you get through the whole line and everything else, but you're right. It was gorgeous inside.
Your sales team needs to get on. I mean, that's sponsorship opportunities right here. Your sales team needs to get on it.
Solid testimonial right there.
No,
Seriously.
You lock in. Like you're able to lock in, and it doesn't have any, effects as other pharmaceuticals.
Yeah. And the great thing when you talk to those people, you can tell them exactly what you're looking for, what kind of feel or vibe, and they know what they're doing.
Exactly.
Well, listen, I'm gonna then give you a show now that you can maybe combine your audience that maybe the dispensary wares. I'm gonna give you a show that maybe you combine that with, and it's got local adjacent ties. So starting today on Hulu, 4-part, the John Bon Jovi story.
Oh, I've been waiting for this. I cannot wait for this one. It starts today. Sweet.
It starts today. It's called Thank You, Good Night, like rock stars say at the end of each show. 4 parts. It's supposed to be very, very well done, covering his career. So
you want to talk about drama? Him and Richie, his guitar player. Oh man, drama galore with those two.
100%. So I know a lot of people are excited about this. It's been advertised a lot. So
making my day. Molly Crew just released a new single after 6 years, and now the Bon Jovi documentary's out. I'm in.
I'll give you one more along those lines. It's a client of mine. Sebastian Bach has great music out right now. Great music out right now. Yes, for real.
All right. How about that?
And listen, and he's playing at Parks on May 18th.
Really?
So you should absolutely go see him. He commands a stage still like nobody else.
Oh, man, I saw him back in the day. You go to Parks, I'll meet you up there. We'll go headbang a little bit with no hair.
I'll be there, buddy. I'll be there.
That's awesome. I love it. That's fantastic. Well, TV Todd.
Can I ask you one more thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
Is your whole entire house painted Flyers orange or just the room you're in?
Thank you for asking that, VG. Just the wall, but it was chosen for the Flyers right there. You see the thumbs up? Chosen for the Flyers.
Let's go.
That's awesome. I love the fact you are FF, man. You were 4 for 4, but you're FF, Flyer first.
Absolutely.
I love it. Todd. Great stuff as always, my brother, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys. Let's go Sixers.
Sixers. Love it.
Love it.
All right. So we're in overtime right now.
OT.
And I got one last exercise for us to do, and that would be the Friday Five. We do the Friday Five every week, and I don't want to kill it because we can go OT. So let's do it. You can play along at home. The Friday Five, we always begin with the best and worst in the clubhouse. So I'll begin with you, JP.
Okay.
Give me the best of last night's draft.
Yeah, so there's a viral video of a draft room. We know that very well here in Philadelphia, draft rooms, and going viral on Twitter. But the Falcons GM apparently had to kind of explain to Arthur Blank why he selected Michael Penix Jr. By the way, Michael Penix, lefty, first name Michael, quarterback of the Falcons. That's also something to keep in mind. But yeah, I thought that was hilarious. Seeing, he was like really breaking it down, using his hands. Like, this is why we selected him. So I would love to be a fly in that room, see what he had to say to Arthur Blank, because I guess Arthur's not a big fan of selecting Penix at 9.
Wow.
That's wild that he would do that without running it by the owner.
I know. That's
especially Arthur Blank, who's so involved.
and that's a big strategy. Like, you would know that he was going to be there at 8. So I would think that would have conversation would have happened pre-draft.
Yeah, Uncle Blank, I'm just going to select Penix. What do you think? You're right before the draft. I guess he didn't even do that.
I mean, we have number 8, so you got to think that's going to happen.
Nobody had him in a top 10.
That's nuts. All right, best for you, VG.
There was a moment. There's a tweet going out. Do you have it, Andrew, of the Detroit fan? There's when the Packers made their pick. Did you see the kid? He's got like glasses.
Yeah, I can pull that up.
Cheesehead.
Yeah.
And the Detroit fan, because Detroit's feeling chesty now.
Yeah.
He's just in his face. He's like, He was so sad looking.
I think it's actually a video.
Let's do it. We can see that.
Let me get it up here real quick.
All right. I love it. I love it. So it's Detroit. By the way, I thought Detroit was cool.
They came out, man.
I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
I probably would say it's the best one since Philly.
I thought so too.
Yeah.
Best one since Philly.
Yeah, Detroit is. I'm impressed by Detroit.
Yeah.
It's a good sports
I was
town.
going to ask, it's a good sports town, right?
Yes, I've been there many times, and it's even better now that a lot of their stuff's downtown, and they're really refurbishing downtown.
It's been through a lot financially.
Yeah.
It's good for them to have some good
All
stuff.
right, ready to go. I got
a good sports town. All right, let's take a look at it.
Do. With the 25th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Green Bay Packers and hosts for the 2025 NFL Draft select Jordan Morgan, tackle, Arizona.
3-year starter at left tackle for Arizona. He's been training to play on the right side as well, or at guard, so the versatility is there. That particular cheesehead doesn't seem excited. Jordan Morgan.
He's also in the sea of
That's awesome, man. That's great. I love it. That's the spirit of the draft.
Yeah,
I love it. That's good stuff. All right, the worst of last night, JP. What do you got?
Not just like the worst of last night, but this has kind of been the trend over the past couple years with the NFL draft. It's the draft pick girlfriends. Like, listen, I'm a little bit of a mama's boy. I love my mama. If I were in that situation, the first person I'm hugging and kissing is my mama. And these like girlfriends are trying to be the first one they hug and kiss. But at that age,
know what? That's a great point.
I'm going right to my mom.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
You're going 21, 22 years old.
Oh, definitely.
You got to go mom first.
Go mom first. There was a scene where
I agree. You're right about that.
Fashanu who got selected. There was a video where his girlfriend was trying to get in between the mom and the mom is a bigger woman too, so she's trying to get in there and
she's
the
boxing around.
Oh yeah, great
mom,
job.
She didn't want anything to do it.
Oh wow. So I'm gonna call out the girlfriends of the draft picks.
And by the way, they'll leave out dads, man.
Yeah,
the girlfriend's third.
Yes.
All right,
and how long
mom, dad, girlfriend is the pecking order.
Maybe even your bros or your boy. You got your best buddy.
Dude, I agree. We're siblings,
yeah,
or your best friend.
Yeah.
And how long are those girls going to be around for?
Bros before?
Like, really?
How
long are those girls going to be around for? I mean,
exactly.
Come on. Come on. We all know.
And she's just trying to social climb right there.
Yeah.
You got your mom. Like, she needs to have respect for mom.
She does.
Yeah.
She needs to step back.
Yes. Yeah, she's got to be like, yo, handle mom first.
That's the Sonny test.
We'll get you tonight.
Listen,
we do our thing tonight.
But that's the Sonny test. It is. That's just like Do you open the car?
That's a good
the car door,
Roxdale. Yeah, that's good.
Right, like the passenger door. Like, does she reach over and open the driver's side door, unlock it? No, we know that lock doesn't exist now anymore because you have the automatic fob. But it's the same theory, which is, can she then set back and allow mom and dad and family, right?
That's right.
That, to me, is a test. That's the Sonny test.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I'm down with that. That's good.
All right. Good. All right. What's your worst of the draft?
Mine is not even that creative. I just hated the Commanders pick. I think that's a good pick. And I think that's going to be
right there with you.
As an Eagles fan, yeah.
Yeah, it was a real good pick.
That's going to be trouble here.
Man.
Yeah, I agree.
It's going to be good for them.
I was hoping they botch it somewhere.
Yeah, I'm hoping Drake Mays.
Yeah. Listen, I hear you. All right. Best and worst of last night continues. Let's go. The New York invasion. Sunday, 1 o'clock, game 4. All right. How do we combat the New York invasion? What is our Philly flex, JP?
I'm not really going to go with the flex, but this is something I've always brought up to like anyone who wants to talk about the state of New Jersey. And you and I are, we live in New Jersey. We got to break up from here till Sunday. We got to break up New Jersey. We all know South Jersey's Philadelphia. We all know North Jersey's New York. That's how we do it. We're going to break it off. We're going to send them off.
No, it should really not exist as a state.
I agree.
No, listen, I'm serious.
No, for real.
No, it should not exist.
South Jersey should be part of Pennsylvania, and then North Jersey should be part of the state of New York.
Split it. We should be 49 states.
And that will help us a little bit.
I'll be honest, even Delaware, I think you whack up Delaware too.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like quite frankly, we don't need to have 50.
It's not a real state.
We don't need 50.
No.
Go 48.
I mean, honestly, New Jersey, that's what New Jersey is.
You can make half of the Midwest just one giant state for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, honestly.
Do we need 2 Dakotas?
Exactly.
Yeah, like what is
We're
that?
streamlining the country right now, guys.
Right? No, listen, I'm with you. Like Jersey has always been a whack and half. It's a suburban state.
Yeah.
It's always been a suburban state. So just whack it. Either that or cut off Pennsylvania in half. Because if you're one side of PA and the other side of PA is completely different.
Yeah, if you call me a Yins, I'm fighting.
I would redesign cut half of Pennsylvania off.
All right.
Combine half of Jersey.
Yeah.
And that's our state.
I love that. That's a great idea.
And even gobble up Delaware.
We get some beach.
Right?
PA
Beach.
Yeah.
East side of PA and South Jersey.
And northern Delaware.
Yeah.
Northern. We get the Poconos and the South Beach.
Oh, yes.
South Jersey.
Yes.
Yeah.
From really the Poconos.
And we get the Delaware beaches?
Yes.
Yeah, man. All right.
Right. From the Poconos. No, I've always wanted to redesign. I don't know if you remember.
I always bring this up.
Wanted to redesign the country.
I always bring this up.
If you remember that, I've always done it. I did our map, our 4-for-4 map. I think that should be it. Work on that, would you, Andrew?
I will.
At some point, maybe do a new map of the country with our state.
We definitely need to propose this idea to Senate or whatnot to have this
reach
happen.
out to the local senator.
And it should be a Philly. Listen, Philadelphia is too important to the country, right?
Yeah.
It should be a state, not a city.
I agree.
So we could call it Phil or whatever.
Sounds good to me. I'm
all right.
Yeah. You're preaching to the choir.
All right.
I'm in.
Let's go to.
Well, VG's got to give his. What are we going to do?
Oh, I'm going to lean into the city of brotherly love and kill them with kindness, man. I'm just bringing boxes of Kleenexes for their tears about whining about. We play one game physical, and oh my God, they're crying and whining.
I know.
Basketball is a contact sport both ways.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. All right, let's play this little game. You can handpick anyone you want. Pluck them. All right? Any player, active player, and put them on any one of your teams. Like you want Connor McDavid, to continue the Flyers theme. To me, it's off of Michael Parsons. So I watched Michael Parsons bemoan the Mitchell pick.
Back-to-back years, by the way.
Right? And I'm going, Micah just needs to play for the Eagles.
Yeah.
Right? Just needs to happen.
True.
And by the way, could you get a better fit than Micah having a while, a joker, right? Come in as a playmaker on defense? I mean, Super Bowl it is.
Yeah.
So he's my pick.
Okay.
So who's your pick?
All right. We need to give some love to the union here today. So I'm going to go. and Andrew knows this well.
Loves it.
The one player that they need a guy who's going to score a goal at any time in the game. So we're going to go with one of the best in the world, Erling Haaland on the U. Give me the man bun, that tight-ass blonde man bun on the Philadelphia Union, scoring goals with guys, Zach. Yeah, give me Erling Haaland.
I love that.
Who?
That would be fire. That would be wild.
In the words of the bro, I'd be horned up on that one.
Yeah. Is he an MLS player?
Yeah,
no,
Man City.
He's we said any player, any league.
You can do whatever you want.
You do him over. Who's the guy from France?
Mbappe.
Yeah,
See, I like
Mbappe.
Haaland because of the size. They're both great goal scorers, but Mbappe's more versatile. He plays a system we really don't run.
Mbappe.
He's a stud. Yeah. So right now,
He's
earlier,
like unstoppable.
the debate was Messi, Ronaldo. It's going to slowly shift to Mbappe versus Haaland because those two are the two best in the world by far.
All right. What do you got?
I'm torn, man. There's one slam dunk, Patrick Mahomes, but I think we have a glaring weakness, Ronald Acuna Jr. in
I
right
was going to
field.
say, right, I thought you would go Fightins.
It was a right field
And you
bat.
go Acuna?
I thought you would say Trouty.
I want a right fielder. We good in center field. We need a right fielder. It's a hole with Castellanos right now.
Yeah.
I think that just solidifies that lineup.
Oh, my God.
That'd be awesome.
And then
Acuna.
By the way, that takes care of the Schwarber leadoff thing, too.
Yes, it does.
I love it.
Depends. Tom for having Acuna batting 6.
Can you imagine? Acuna 1, Schwarber 2. Unless you go Schwarber 1, Acuna 2, Bryce 3.
Trey Turner's batting 6 or 7.
All right. That's question number 3. Question number 4 is this one. Who do you trust of all the draft analysts, all the football analysts, right?
Mm-hmm.
It could be draft, it could be NFL, it could be whatever it is. But who do you trust as an analyst? Like last night, you saw Saban now new on the scene.
That's crazy.
You saw Belichick, right? Lou Riddick, Kuiper. We talk to Baldi all the time, right? Any of your football analysts, who do you trust the most, JP?
So, I mean, obviously, like Baldi's a dear friend of the show, so it's very easy to go Baldi.
Let's take Baldi out.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with.
All right.
I'm gonna go with a little bit. Going back to me growing up and watching the draft and being crazy about the draft. Mike Mayock, I used to sit there. I would stop everything I would do to listen to Mike Mayock because he was my favorite. And obviously, he was the GM of the Raiders for a couple of years, so I didn't get the ability to listen to him anymore. But Mike Mayock was awesome growing up. I loved him, and I'm glad that he's back here too. Going Mike Mayock.
All right, VG.
I'm showing some love and respect to the OG. I'll go Kuiper.
Kuiper is fun.
Kuiper in his hair.
I do love Kuiper.
I can't imagine a draft without Kuiper around.
Yeah.
I don't even want to think about it.
I love Kuiper.
Yeah, he is what he is.
I love Mel.
Yeah,
I like Mel.
Yeah.
I'm a Mel
The
man.
hair is still on point.
I love that hair.
Yeah. All right, and finally, we give you what is, now if you're watching the draft, you're watching ESPN, you're watching all the sports we watch, you see a lot of local commercials, right? These are commercials that are produced just locally that you'll see sometimes just in your zip code. But give me your best local TV commercial, JP.
Okay. You need Eagles jerseys, Sixers t-shirts, we got pants, we got shirts. 4 Monmouth.
That's where you were going to go. It's your house. It's Rally House. Yeah.
I was just going to say,
city,
because they used to like just throw.
House.
They used to throw a bunch of products and they would go, 4 Monmouth.
No, they don't exist anymore.
I don't think so. I haven't seen.
Yeah, they're out.
No, they're out.
R.I.P.
Yeah, R.I.P.
Thank you for the cheap outfits.
So when I was walking, actually, we had a baseball tournament last week in, it was like Central Jersey, right? So there were New Yorkers there. And so I was walking past this guy and he was singing Nobody Beats the Wiz. Remember that? Yeah. You had New York channels, like a cable, early cable. You had New York channels. And they would always have the Nobody Beats the Wiz. And then it was on Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Yes, the Wiz. The guy
they were like the Wiz, and then it was Crazy Eddie. They're both right around the same time.
Yeah. All right.
We had some good answers in the chat room for this one. I threw it out there. The people like the Martirano Prime one. You said, like, yo, cuz he's got the tattoo.
Yes.
The Cars for Kids.
The cars.
That's torture.
Donate
That.
Yeah. I mean, that is kind of torturous.
Yeah.
That's one of those. you know, oh my God, you want to extract information, right? Like Guantanamo Bay.
Yeah.
You do the Cars for Kids at Guantanamo Bay.
And it doesn't even make it any better with the commercial. The kids playing, all cute kids playing the instruments. No. Mine is Shibe Sports. I like what they do.
Love the Shibe Sports.
I love they use local artists. They use local musicians in their commercials. I think they do a good job locally with their commercials.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Andrew, you have one?
The Cure Auto,
I
are
love
good.
Cure Auto.
They're always
Actually, they're fun, the Cure Auto.
They're fun.
And they do different markets.
Yep, they have Maxey, Schwarber. You know, those are good ones.
Yeah, they're good. All right.
Did you notice the draft room of the Eagles last night? I took a picture.
You love VG's one of these people, right? That is what he watches everything. And he's got his phone ready to pounce on fans.
Yes.
Like, don't wear some bad jersey, like a Steve Jelks jersey to the Phillies game. VG will get you.
Yeah. I earned a name.
In fact, we should actually use your photos on the show. All right? We just got to X out the face.
Yeah.
All right?
For sure. So, like, the draft room, every draft room looks cool, fine. The Eagles, it's like they got a memo. They all had to dress the same. Dark suits, collared shirts, no ties.
Here it is.
They're like a cult. Look at them.
Oh, my God.
There's one guy with a sweater on. I don't know who that is. But look at them all.
The guy with the plaid shirt. If you see in the back left.
I like that look. It actually looks like a CIA kind of
looks like an IBM cult.
No.
Yeah, they're just missing ties. If you want to wear the shirt, the sport coat with the little pocket thing, put a tie on with it.
No tie.
You either go casual.
Yeah, no
you
tie.
don't need
You
tie.
either go
I don't think
sports
you need
athletic
tie.
casual or...
We got Cam York back there. Look at that. That guy looks like Cam York.
Cam York.
Yeah, they look creepy. They look like they're some kind of cult. They're waiting for a spaceship. Look, they're all looking for a spaceship.
Wait for a spaceship. I don't know. I like it. No,
nah.
You're out.
I like the no tie.
I like the no tie too.
Shows that you're
you
your
wanna
own
go
boss.
tie?
If I'm wearing a blazer with a little pocket thing, I'll put a tie on with it.
I don't like the tie.
Looks cool, like open neck.
I like,
I don't need no open. I'm not an open neck guy.
Well, you got a bad
hamburger
neck.
meat?
I do have a bad neck. Yeah,
So you're anti-neck.
But there's some of the guys with the open neck, they got all this hair that should be trimmed back and stuff. I'm not the open neck.
The open neck is good. Open neck, you combine the look, the jacket, and then the button down open neck. You feel good. You're out.
Yeah,
All right. Well, look, I guess that's going to do it for our overtime.
OT.
We got ready for what's your wish list for today, JP?
My wish. Oh, for
what position?
For a game. Wait, you talking about the Sixers?
Draft.
Oh,
No, Sundays for Sixers.
I was like, okay. Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, like, again, with day 2, second and third rounds, draft best available, you're still in that range. Obviously, let's try to get that offensive line. We weren't able to get that here. And then just, those mismatched weapons that you can find here. You're going to get some guys dropping here as well. There's going to be some good stuff here today. And it was a good day 1.
All right. How about you?
Oh, I was disappointed yesterday, but I can be redeemed today.
Disappointed.
Kingsley Suamataya.
I want Blake Fisher.
Samoan offensive line.
Get him the Samoan.
I get him in the second
I
round.
love a Samoan. I do. I'm a big fan of the Samoans.
The only thing I don't want
But
is...
Blake Fisher, dude, he's good. He's good.
All right.
Blake Fisher.
I just don't want Lad McConkey. I can't get past the last name of McConkey
No,
from
Phil
Phil and the
McConkey,
Giants and forever burned by that
He's
name.
a player, though, lad. The lad is a player.
Let him play somewhere else.
Speaking of lads, the Andrew has another soccer jersey.
Let's go.
Dude, how many soccer jerseys do you have, and how many leagues?
Wait, but you
did I see a Bundesliga jersey or no?
I do
know
have
I
one.
an
I
EPL.
have
You
a
do?
Kane jersey. Yeah.
do?
Can
From
you get
Byron.
a camera with that?
I have
You
about
have a Bayern Munich jersey?
I do. Yes. I have about 8 or 9, but like 4 of them are Union.
Okay,
Right.
well, so you have 4 Union jerseys.
Yeah, I have one from like every
You have
league.
an EPL.
I have.
You have a Serie A.
I have a Serie A.
Got a USA one.
I have a USA one and Bundesliga. The only one I don't have is La Liga.
You gotta get the La Liga.
I gotta get one. Yeah.
Do you know which one that is?
Yeah, that's the Serie A. AC Milano.
Yeah. AC Milan.
Look at that.
No, I like Serie A.
Gotta
I had
Good.
to. I had to get into it. Like when Napoli won, and we did our
about momentous
Gargano
days.
travel we went to Amalfi Coast, went to Naples, and they were still celebrating. We went 2 months after they won Napoli won it, and they were freaking out.
Drunk.
Yeah.
Oh, they were
awesome.
Everything was unbelievable. The whole city was draped in the azzurri, in the blue.
Yeah, that's right. Now, Azzurri. The Napoli fans, the reason why I chose to root for Napoli is because they reminded me the most of the Philly sports fans.
Dude, let me tell you something. Go to Naples, and you think it's their. I realized as an Italian American that all of the Italian American culture comes from Naples. Like, they're different than, like, listen, most of the Italian Americans came from Southern Italy because it's poor, right? There's no jobs, no work. So they got on a boat and they came here, right? Sicily, Calabria, Puglia, and Naples. And the culture, our Italian American culture, is comes from Naples. They're loud, right? Yeah. The food, like everything.
You guys bring the best food too.
It was a lot of
comfort food.
Yeah. And I felt at home in Naples.
It's on my list.
Yeah,
Next place I'm going is Italy.
And my favorite TV show takes place in Naples.
Oh,
It's called Gomorrah.
oh yeah. Gomorrah.
Yeah, which is takes place in Naples.
When TV Todd said he had a reality show that you were going to like, I thought it was going to be like guys becoming made men.
Nah, dude, come on. Stop. There's none of that. Oh, man. Come on, VG. God, you're going to end it like that?
No, yes, I will.
Listen, we can go on forever.
Yeah, we can.
I can't wait for game 2 on game 4 on Sunday morning.
By the
1 o'clock.
By the way, if you guys are in Philly, come over to the PHLY Sixers watch party. I'll be there as well. Wicked Wolf in Center City. Love to see you guys.
All right, tell us about the format too.
Yeah.
Before we leave.
Yeah.
And I want to give a let us know too, because we're going to be starting the phone calls, and you can reach us obviously via the chat. I got to give a yo to my father. He's like, great show. A lot of fun. And I said, we're still on. He goes, yeah, I know. I'm watching.
Nice.
So it's cool.
Great photographer.
Yeah. So Sunday, so it's going to start at 12:30. We're going to have the PHLY Sixers. So obviously Kyle Neubeck, you have Devon Gibbons. You're going to have Derek Bodner as well. We're going to be there hanging out. I'll be there. Jules will be running the show as well. So we're just going to be hanging out, having fun, watching the Sixers, and you can interact with Devon, Kyle, and Derek as well. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. Wicked Wolf, it's on Chestnut. It's the old Porta. If you ever remember that, the old Porta there. So it'll be a lot of fun. Just head on over to PHLY, allphly.com. You can sign up. Let us know you're coming in, and then come on, hang out, have a drink with me.
And remember, you miss any of the show, you get on the podcast. You can watch it on demand right on YouTube. Just subscribe and like and tell your friends, because I know a lot of people are figuring out, how do we get you? I hear it all the time. How do we do it? How do we watch? All right. So tell everybody, show them what to do. Just boom. All right. You subscribe to it, comes right into your inbox. A lot of fun. We hope you enjoy it. We want you guys to have a great weekend. Andrew Frazier did an amazing job producing.
Andrew.
Great job doing all this stuff. Thanks to all of our guests, Baldi and Legs and TV Todd and Brad and Zachariah Berman. So we appreciate all you guys. And listen, have a wonderful weekend. Have a little fun. Enjoy the draft. Enjoy the playoffs. And we'll see you on Monday. Thanks, everybody.
We all silly like the mayor.